Alrighty. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Sunday morning live stream for Week 9 of the 2025 fantasy football season. Hope you guys are doing well. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we're talking all things fantasy football related in regards to setting our lineups in order to find success and capture another victory and get ourselves one step closer to achieving our singular goal of capturing a 2025 fantasy football championship. As you guys can see to the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings for the primary positions of running back, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense. So if you guys have any questions in regards to interpositional rankings, hopefully the rankings to the right side of the screen that are currently for a 4-point per passing touchdown and additionally half PPR scoring format will suffice for your league. And if I'm not able to directly answer your question, of course, hopefully I can answer it via proxy of somebody else's question. Over the course of today's episode, or excuse me, today's live stream, again, I will be answering questions in the live chat and or via super chat in order to claim priority. Whenever you guys do send in a super chat or a regular chat, make sure you include your scoring format. That is greatly appreciated as it gives me more context to the question so that I can decipher through my rankings that I've set up as to which direction to suggest. Again, earlier today, I did post my rankings via Patreon. So for those of you who are members of the Patreon and have supported there, those rankings are available at a full capacity at every single position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense, and flex for both half and full PPR. And for those of you who have gone ahead and supported not only via the Patreon, but of course via the Betr sign up using code Andrew and making that first time deposit, then making that first time play, for those of you guys who have done so, those rankings have also been sent out earlier this morning around 6 a.m. PST. Thank you very much. Okay, without further ado, I know there's many of us who are at the current position to where we're looking for our questions answered, and I'm sure there are going to be many sent through, so I want to go ahead and get ahead of the schedule before they start to roll in here and get a little bit out of hand. So let's begin here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the live stream chat on screen, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so this will be the indicator as to where we're going in regards to our questions. Before we begin, for those of you who are fellow Dodgers fans, congratulations. We're world champs again, and let's get into it, shall we? Here we go. All right, Chronofied sends in a question. Says, I'm 5-3 in a full PPR, and it's a 0.3 point per rushing attempt league. Help me submit my lineup, Dart or Dak Prescott. Okay, so as it currently stands, I have Jackson Dart projected for, let's say, okay, so I have him projected about a little bit over 7 rushing attempts today. So let's say he gets like upside. Let's say he finds himself with 8 rushing attempts. With a 0.3 per rushing attempt system, that's like what, 2.4 fantasy points. I don't think, no, it's not, I don't think. I know that's not enough to be able to surpass my Dak projection. So I would still play Dak Prescott despite that overall kind of difference in scoring format. If Jackson Dart was to get 12, 13 rushes, then it would be a conversation to be had in which I would go in the direction of Jackson Dart. But until then, I think I would prefer to play Dak Prescott between the two of them as of this week in your scenario here, Chronofied. Thank you. Then it says, then pick 4 of the following to start. I played Henry and Waddle on Thursday Night Football. I have Kamara, Monangai, Etienne, Lamb, Olave, and Franklin. Beautiful. Of your available options, Monangai and Etienne have to play, especially in a 0.3 per rushing attempt format. Lamb has to play, to which then your final option is between Olave and Kamara. Genuinely, I don't believe that they're going to be given the opportunity to run the ball much. The New Orleans Saints are going to be in a little bit of a tough bind today, so I'll take Olave because of the full PPR format alongside of the Monangai, Etienne, and Lamb suggestions. Those are the 4 that I would play. Best of luck, Chronofied. Thank you very much again. All right, we had Eric Sanchez who sent in a question, nothing attached. If you guys can, whenever you send in a question, please make sure that the message is attached. Therefore, I don't really have to go finding it too far. It says, hello, half PPR. I need a wide receiver and a flex between Diggs, Cortland Sutton, Dowdle, and Knight. Of those available options in a half PPR scoring format, I believe, in terms of wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, I have him 1 spot ahead of Cortland Sutton. And then I have Dowdle ahead of, I have Knight ahead of the rest of those available. So Bam Knight, Stephon Diggs, those would be my primary 2 suggestions in a half PPR there, Eric. Thank you. Will Hayes sends in a question. Will, thank you very much. Says, running back Knight or Montgomery? I would rather play Knight as of this moment. Again, the matchup in itself for Bam Knight is incredibly advantageous, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't been able to stop the run themselves. And then additionally, on top of it, the overall opportunity share that Knight has been exposed to over the course of his last 2 games has been significant enough to where I'm going to lean in that direction. With Jacoby Brissett under center, this offense has never looked better this season. They're progressing towards, putting up the highest yardage counts that they have this season with the backup. So I'm anticipating them to be able to sufficiently move the ball against the Dallas Cowboys defense that can't stop a soul. And of course for Knight, who's coming off of his most recent game of 17 total touches, to be able to continue to get that kind of workload share of opportunity. So Knight would be my preference between those two. As for Slayton and Alec Pierce, I would prefer to play Alec Pierce purely based on the matchup itself of taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. So I'd anticipate for a lot of potential for success there. I would honestly expect to see the Indianapolis Colts probably score 5 touchdowns minimum as an offense. And as long as, Jonathan Taylor only gets 2 of them, we have a chance for Alec Pierce to reach that potential for even greater upside. Thank you. All right, Shooter McGavin sends in a question. Shooter, thank you. Says, already played Waddle. I need 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and 1 flex. I have Jacobs, Hunt, Monangai, Kenneth Walker, and Travion Henderson. My wide receivers are Allen, London, and Nico. Thanks. Okay, so of your available options, I have to play Josh Jacobs. I have to play Monangai. And then if I'm looking at your wide receivers here, you have Keenan Allen, London, Nico. I'm going to play London and Nico and end up flexing Travion Henderson. So the 5 that I would suggest are Jacobs, Monangai, Henderson, London, and Nico. Those are the 5 that I would play if I was in your position. Whether it is a half or full PPR format, doesn't matter. That's the direction that I would go with. Thank you, Shooter. Appreciate it. All right, David Smith sends in a question. David, thank you very much. Says, hey, Andrew, love the channel. Thank you very much. Full PPR for the flex. Should I start Tucker Kraft, Marvin Harrison, or Chase Brown? I believe I will have Tucker Kraft ranked higher than the alternative options. Let me just confirm this. Yeah. In a full PPR scoring format, I do have Tucker Kraft ranked higher than Marvin Harrison and Chase Brown. So I would say effectively Tucker Kraft is not only the safest decision to make here, but also the most consistent, coming off of the last 2 weeks of a total of 19 targets, 10 in one game, 9 in the other, and of course, incredible production. And on top of it, taking on a relatively advantageous matchup, top 8 at the position against the Carolina Panthers. So yeah, Tucker Kraft is my suggestion of the available within the flex position there, David. Thank you. Speak Your Piece sends in a question. Speak, hope you're doing well. He says, good morning, Drew. BTJ or Chase Brown flex PPR. I believe I have BTJ ranked higher in my full PPR rankings. Let me go ahead and confirm that for you. Yes, I have Brian Thomas Jr. 3 spots ahead of Chase Brown in a full PPR scoring format. He got a little bit of a bump in comparison to earlier this week's Thursday rankings, primarily because, of course, Travis Hunter on Friday designated to go to the injured reserve, so certainly has made a little bit of a shift of the overall potential opportunity share in terms of total targets that can be distributed towards a BTJ in this circumstance. And while Joe Flacco is, dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury there, dealing with a throwing shoulder injury, he did not practice on Friday. I do anticipate Joe Flacco to play. I have him ranked as my number 17 quarterback. So for those of you who are wondering where was Joe Flacco within the rankings that are filtering on screen, he sits at number 17. My only concern regarding Joe Flacco and why I don't want to rank him at a top 16 capacity nor play him in comparison to the alternative options I have ranked on screen that are going to show up right here is because if in fact he is to re-aggravate that shoulder injury and it forces him to leave the game midway through, again, that's a injury potential in which I don't want to take the risk of, while I have other alternative quarterback options who I believe can just be a safe potential for 2 touchdowns and get me out of there with a pretty solid week. Thank you. All right, Stoney and Bear sends in a question. Stoney, what's up? Says tight end Gadsden, Kincaid, or Laporta. I'd play Gadsden today. And then follow-up question was flex pick 2. Name any listed above or Troy Franklin, Downs, or Myers. Okay, so if I was going to flex a second option, I would play Laporta. So Gadsden and Laporta would be my combo there at tight end and as your number 1 flex. As for your second flex, I probably end up leaning in the direction of either Franklin or Downs. Let me see where I have them ranked currently. I don't know what your scoring format is. You didn't mention that, so I'm just going to assume it's a full PPR and just keep it moving in that regard. So, because, yeah. As of right now, full PPR, I have Troy Franklin. So it'll go Gadsden, Laporta, Franklin as the primary 3 there, Stoney. Thank you. All right, let's see. Ray C sends in a question. Ray, thank you very much. I appreciate it, my man. Says Ford PPR. Okay, so for PPR, Bam, DJ Moore, Rico Dowdle. Beautiful. Good question. Let's see what we have DJ Moore in comparison to Bam Knight, and Rico Dowdle. As of right now, I have Rico and Bam Knight ranked both higher than DJ Moore. In the event in which we need to order it, it would go Bam Knight 1, Rico Dowdle 2, DJ Moore 3 as for this week. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Mikey, what's up? Mikey sends out a question. Says, in a full PPR flex, wide receiver Troy Franklin versus the Texans defense or Torrey Horton versus the Commanders. Cup injury makes me lean towards Horton, he says. Yeah, look, I think there's a potential in which we could lean towards Torrey Horton. I have Cup already designated to be out. My projections already have it as such, to which I have Torrey Horton as my number 45. Well, actually, no, that's in a full PPR, so it actually would adjust accordingly. So, in a half PPR, is he close to Franklin? Yes, but I don't have him ranked higher than Franklin. Or at least I don't have it projected as such. Even with Cup designated out, Jake Bobo, Derek Young, 3 wide receivers of the Seattle Seahawks designated out. I just feel like this solidifies Jackson Smith to get himself an even greater workload, because if you look at the overall opportunity share that Cooper Kupp has been able to gather over the course of this season already, it's not been a consistent volume. There's been a couple solid weeks here, but not enough to make me feel like, oh, there's just going to be an objective huge uptick of opportunity for Torrey Horton, because just the last couple weeks here, outside of the one singular game against Tampa Bay, which was the highest scoring game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, between two teams thus far, the rest of his target counts have been 3, 5, 3, and 1. So even if you were to combine those target opportunity counts with whatever Torrey Horton has been gathering thus far this season in terms of opportunity share, 3, 1, 4, 2, as of the last 4 weeks, it's not a great enough opportunity share for me to be able to convincingly start Torrey Horton ahead of Troy Franklin as the alternative. So for now, I would just keep Franklin in the lineup. If you wanted to roll with Horton, it's perfectly fine, but I think it would require a lot of potential for touchdown upside there to be a feasible upside play. Thank you. All right, moving on to Ashley, who says, team is Josh Allen, T. Higgins, Teddy Roll, McMillan, Chase Brown, Gibbs, McBride, Kyle Monangai, and Brashard Smith. I have Parker, Shakir, DJ on my bench. I need 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. Or would you just leave it? Okay, so looking at what you currently have, Parker Washington, Khalil Shakir, I'm assuming that's DJ Moore. So of those available options, I would probably feel most comfortable playing Shakir over Brashard Smith. And then as for T. Higgins and Tedderroll McMillan, I would leave it as such. So that's the only swap that I make. I play Shakir instead of Brashard Smith today. Going into the matchup, Ashley. Otherwise, the rest of your lineup looks fantastic, and looks like you're probably going to put together a pretty good score line here this week. Thank you. All right, T. King sends in a question. Says, in a full PPR scoring format, pick 2. To start at running back, we have Dowdle, Kenneth Walker, Spears, and Pirine. In a full PPR scoring format, let's see where I have them currently structured out. So at running back, I have Kenneth Walker only 1 spot ahead of Tyjae Spears. I have Dowdle ahead of them both, and then Pirine is not too far behind either, but still a little bit out of the realm. So as it currently stands, I have Dowdle and Kenneth Walker as the 1-2 combo. But again, like I mentioned before, Walker and Spears are back-to-back in my rankings in a full PPR, primarily because of the workload share of opportunity that Spears gets exposed to within negative scripts, and additionally his receiving prowess. But for now, I would probably just stick with the Dowdle and Walker approach. It says 2 for the flex. We have Gadsden, DK, Keenan Allen, Parker Washington, or Alec Pierce. Of those, I probably end up playing both of the Los Angeles Chargers. Let me see where I have Keenan Allen compared to Chamir DK, and I'll let you know. Yeah, I have him. It's not significantly ahead, but enough to where, yes, I do feel comfortable rolling with Gadsden as my first flex and then Keenan Allen as my second flex. So I'll play both Chargers there, secure all the value there, and then, of course, Dowdle and Kenneth Walker, like I mentioned before, King. Thank you. All right, Uni sends in a question. Says, hi, in a non-PPR, I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. I need some upside versus Lamar/Jonathan Taylor. Odunze seems right, but how's he versus cornerback DJ Turner? I mean, look, here's the reality of the situation. When it comes to the Bears offense, there's so much of an unpredictability of what they will potentially expose their receivers to on a weekly basis, because it's very much so script dependent. So if in fact they come out and the Bengals are incapable of scoring, the Bears will run the ball 35 times today with Kyle Monangai if they need to. That is how much they are committed to just keeping the ball out of their opposing, team's hand And then additionally, because it'll be such a successful approach running the ball against a defense that has allowed the second most points to opposing running backs via rushing statistics this season, Monangai is just going to run through them like, hot knife through butter. So in this circumstance, Odunze's overall opportunity share is purely dependent on how well Chase, Flacco, and T. Higgins are able to at least score at will. So when I look at your available options, Odunze, Tedero, McMillan, BTJ, Dowdle, and Woody Marks, in a non-PPR scoring format, between these three, not only does Odunze technically have the highest touchdown potential for upside, but I think he does also additionally, just purely off of, even with no Hunter, I don't trust BTJ enough. No, I'm just going to play Odunze even with DJ Turner. I'm fine with it. I have to roll with that because I don't feel comfortable at all with either of these two comparatively. Because if I'm looking to cash in on a touchdown, unless BTJ makes one over the top of the defense, this team in the red zone has kind of been a floundering mess. Now, as for your flex option, I probably pair Odunze up with Woody Marks, and that's how I roll with this week. Thank you. Johnny7 sends in a question, says, please rank in a PPR in order between Knight, Spears, and Booty. Let me see where I have Spears in comparison to Booty. Okay, so as it currently stands, between the three of them, full PPR score. Where's Kayshawn? Okay, so I have Bam Knight ranked the highest of the bunch. Between Spears and Booty, I have them ranked back-to-back in my full PPR. Number 78 and 79 of my top 120 flex. 78 is Spears, 79 is Booty. Back-to-back, I would play Spears and Knight if I was to make the suggestion. Thank you. No Love Matt sends in a question. Says, hey, Andrew. Good morning, Andrew. Says, full PPR, need a wide receiver too between Addison, Worthy, Shaheed, Dobbs, JMO, and DK. In a full PPR, if I'm looking at that available grouping, I think it's either Addison or Worthy. Worthy has my highest ranking of the bunch, I believe. I don't think Dobbs is higher. I don't think Shaheed is higher. Neither is JMO or DK. Yeah, so the order at which I currently have it would structure it as Worthy as my highest ranked. Because of the 52.5 point total implicated points in a shootout between Buffalo and Kansas City, and of course the fact that Kansas City has scored 4 touchdowns as an offense for 5 straight weeks, I'll lean towards Worthy in that circumstance. If I was going to go to another option here, I would then just go to Addison or Romeo Dobbs. If you could fit another flex spot in there. But for right now, Worthy's my suggestion. It says also PPR flex, ETN or Hunt. I would go with ETN there. It says then in a half PPR, BTJ, Bam Knight, or Montgomery. Let me see where I have BTJ comparatively to Bam Knight in a half PPR scoring format. Between the two of them, I would take BTJ and I would start him. Thank you. All right, Daisy, if you do, says in a half PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex format. Here we go. We have Walker, Monangai, Marks. Between the 3, I would play Monangai and Marks as my RB and flex. Walker would be benched. And then as for 1 quarterback, Flacco, Brissett, or Purdy. Purdy is not expected to play from what I've understood. They've already designated for Mac Jones to be the starter today, so Purdy's not playing. So between Flacco and Brissett, I'd much prefer to play Brissett, even in one of my own priority leagues in which I have, earlier this season, Joe Flacco, who went down. I've recently picked up Joe Burrow went down. I recently picked up Joe Flacco, but I had the opportunity to go pick up Brissett, and I'm playing him ahead of Flacco this week, primarily because of the shoulder concern, and then additionally on top of it, Brissett this season, 270 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns minimum in each of the last 2 games, and now has an opportunity of taking on the number 1 quarterback matchup with another one of the secondary starting members of the Dallas Cowboys to miss this week. So Brissett will be my suggestion of those 3 quarterbacks. Daisy, thank you. Michael H. sends in a question. Thank you, Michael. Says Charbonnet, Brashard Smith, or Jawan Johnson. Full PPR and 1.5 points per bonus for tight ends. Yeah, in this circumstance, I probably end up playing Jawan Johnson there. Even though I do believe that there's a little bit of a difficulty of the potential of the matchup in itself to make it tough on tight ends, specifically because of the way that the Rams defense has functioned thus far this season. Let's see here. In terms of potential production, let's see here. Yeah, I want to trust that Charbonnet falls into the end zone. And if he's able to do so again this week, he would be a very much so solid 10 fantasy points. But in the case in which we have a 0.15 point per bonus, I would be perfectly comfortable just going with a tight end there. As someone who doesn't play in a tight end premium format like such, I can just plug my current projections with Juwan Johnson in terms of receptions, and I'm already assuming he's going to score more points than Charbonnet, unless Charbonnet has a crazy rushing yard total, breaks out a huge run, or scores multiple touchdowns. I would prefer to play Juwan Johnson in this circumstance. Thank you. All right, Knee Jerk sends in a question. Thank you, Knee Jerk. Appreciate it. Says in a full PPR, 10 people. We have DK, we have Troy Franklin, and Johnston. Okay, in a full PPR, I will play Chimere DK over the available alternative options. It says McConkey's my wide receiver 1. Then Ertz versus Schultz. I'd much rather play Zach Ertz. It says Brashard Smith, RB off waivers for Kenneth Walker. No, I would still rather play Kenneth Walker there because Kareem Hunt should be expected to get the bulk majority of workload and, of course, goal line opportunities, which is what presents his current value point. Aaron Jones is on the waivers next week, question mark. If you could pick up Aaron Jones, I think that would be a great idea. If you could do it today, that would be great. It says Detroit or Seattle's defense. As for my defensive rankings today, I'll go with Detroit. And then secondly, Daniels or Love and Kraft stack versus Panthers. I mean, genuinely at this point, I think the overall potential, the separation at which I have between Daniels and Love is relatively significant to where I'm going to suggest you play Jaden Daniels. If you were playing in a 6-point per passing touchdown format, I would say, sure, we can go with Jordan Love there, but in this circumstance, I'd play Daniels along with Kraft. Thank you. All right, TC sends in a question. Says, pick 2 in a full PPR. Knight, Marks, Pollard, Franklin. These are the 2. I'd play Bam Knight and I'd play Woody Marks. Those are my 2 preferred out of the 4 in a full PPR. Thank you, TC. Kent sends in a question. Says, questions in the chat. Thanks. Okay. Says, I have a half PPR league. I need 1 wide receiver and 1 running back between JCM, Pierce, Harvey, Slayton, DK, Diami Brown, and Parker Washington. Okay, of those available in a half PPR scoring format, I would end up playing Chimere DK and Parker Washington. As for your next question, says PPR, I need 1 running back, 2 wide receivers between JCM, Pierce, Slayton, DK Pollard, Noel, and Brashard Smith. Of those available options, I would probably end up rolling with JCM, Pierce, and... No, actually, I would roll with Pierce, DK, and then Pollard. That's the way that I would go with that one. Thank you, Kent. Appreciate it. Cinco2X says, check comments, please. Thank you. Full PPR start 2 between Stephon Diggs, Bam Knight, Kyle Monangai, Kenneth Walker. If I had to pick 2 of the 4, let me check where I have Diggs comparatively to Bam Knight, and I'll let you know exactly how I'd go about it. As of right now, I have Stephon Diggs ahead of Bam Knight in a full PPR, so I will play Diggs and Monangai out of those 4 available options there, Cinco. As for your second question, stating start 3 between Knight, Dowdle, Shakir, Brian Thomas Jr., BTJ, I believe Shakir is ahead of, let me just check where I have Shakir. Shakir is going to be ahead of Dowdle, and so is Bam Knight. So those are the 3 that I would play. I'd play Knight, Shakir, and Thomas in a full PPR ahead of Dowdle. Thank you, Cinco. I appreciate that, my man. Hope you're doing well. All right. Slowly but surely catching up. I do appreciate you guys sending in these super chats. Trying to do my best to quickly answer them without being a little bit too long-winded. For those of you who are joining us this morning, again, we are going to be here for the next 2 hours and 40 minutes talking all things fantasy football. If you guys do have any questions, again, hopefully I can answer your question directly. And if I'm not able to, hopefully I can indirectly answer it with one of these super chat questions, or of course with these rankings that are on screen that continue to filter on screen. For those of you guys who want my all-encompassing rankings, you can always access that right now via the Patreon for those of you interested. But again, hopefully the rankings that are filtering on screen, or of course all the questions I sent through are enough, or sorry, all the questions that are sent through are enough to be able to help guide you in the right direction. Otherwise, there are other members of the community within the live stream chat that are very much so experienced and can probably lead you in the right direction. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Sip sends in a question. Sip says, good morning, Andrew. In a full PPR, would you play Brissett over Flacco? I would, and I am. Thank you. Also, top to bottom, Vidal, Monangai, Pittman, Sutton, and Genty. Yeah, top to bottom in a full PPR. Let me pull that up right now. Let me see where I have Pittman comparatively to the crew. Okay, so top to bottom, it would go Monangai 1, Pittman 2, Vidal 3, Genty 4, and Sutton 5. That's how I would run it. Thank you. Appreciate it, Sip. Daisy, if you do, sends in a follow-up, says standard, 1 flex. Jay Warren, Marks, Tracy. I believe in a full PPR, I have Warren ranked the highest. I do. Jalen Warren is my highest ranked. Oh, no, sorry. You said in a standard league. Even in a standard league, I think I probably end up going with Jalen Warren there. That would be my preferred of the 3. So I go Warren as my number one option there at RB. As for your wide receiver circumstance here with Mooney, Shamir, and Parker Washington, I would play Shamir, DK. Again, the reason why I've mentioned Shamir, DK already this many times over the course of this live stream, for those of you guys who aren't aware, the Chargers will be missing two of their starting secondary members, one of which is their primary nickel cornerback. Over the course of the last two consecutive games, Shamir, DK has primarily functioned as the slot receiving option of the Tennessee Titans offense, and in which he is, he's ran about 79% of his routes over the course of the last 2 weeks from the slot position and found a lot of success in doing so. So if the primary nickel is going to be out, this is going to be a negative game script. The Tennessee Titans are top 5 in terms of overall usage of 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receiver sets. Expect for Shamir, DK to never leave the field and, of course, be exposed to a lot of opportunity share. Very similar to this most recent week in which he had 8 targets. Could be a very similar number, hopefully even more. Thank you. I'm Gucci sends in a question. It says, full PPR, J.K. Dobbins, Tedderell McMillan, or Bam Knight. Let me see where I have Tet in comparison to the crew. I would probably venture to say that Tedderell McMillan is my highest ranked, and he currently is, yes. So Tedderell McMillan will be my suggestion there. And then also for the flex, Pitts, Rico, or DJ Moore. Out of those available, assuming it's a full PPR as well, I also, in that circumstance, have Kyle Pitts ranked the highest. So Tedderell McMillan and Pitts will be my 2 suggestions in regards to your questions there, Gucci. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gog sends in a question, says full PPR, start 1. Wide receiver, 2 running backs, and 2 flex. Between the available options of Devontae Adams, London, Dobbs, we have running back Tracy, Monungai, Chase Brown, Hunt, and Bam Knight. Says, I want to start Hunt and Knight because of the matchup, but I feel crazy benching Brown and Adams or London. Okay, so currently the way that I would approach this, looking at the available wide receivers you have, I have Devontae Adams ranked the highest. So I would go playing Devontae Adams, our wide receiver. As for your 2 running backs, I am playing Monungai, clearing away, and I'm pairing him up with, most likely you're playing a full PPR, correct? So let me see where I have Chase Brown. Chase Brown will be behind Kareem Hunt. So I would play Monungai and Hunt as the 1-2 running back combo, to which then I would play in the flex position, Tracy and London. Yeah. So basically, Adams, London, Tracy, Monungai, and Hunt. So yes, Chase Brown, the odd man out. I don't love it either, but the reality is, there's just better alternative options with more potential for touchdown upside. Even though Chase Brown looked great last week with the 2 touchdowns, I mean, maybe he gets exposed to more opportunity share because of the lack of an arm that potentially Flacco has today because of the shoulder injury. But ultimately, I think that the alternative options and the risk that is implied with the Bengals it's just safer to go with Tracy, Monungai, Hunt along with Adams and London there. Gog, thank you. JV817 sends in a question. JV, thank you. Says, in a full PPR, my quarterback is Nix, Flacco, Sam Darnold, or Jacoby Brissett. If Kyler doesn't play, Kyler has already been designated to be out. He is not going to play. Jacoby Brissett has been named the starter for this week. So Jacoby Brissett will be my suggestion here in this circumstance for Monday night's game against the Dallas Cowboys. It says 1 flex between Henderson, Tedderoa, Shakir, Monungai, also Hunt off waivers. Yeah, of the available options, I would play, Kyle Monungai, very simply. I have him ranked as my number 6 running back in a full PPR and in a half PPR. I expect him to go absolutely off. For those of you who are wondering why Kyle Monungai has such an incredibly high rank, it's primarily because not only is DeAndre Swift out today, but so is Roschon Johnson. There is no backfield competition for the Chicago Bears offense. And from what we have seen from the Chicago Bears offense over the course of the last 3 weeks, since they have returned from the bye, in terms of overall opportunity share to their running backs, it's a pretty significant kind of, let's see here, in terms of touches, we're talking about a sheer volume of, let's pull up a calculator here. If I'm not mistaken, it's upwards of like 20, let's see here. I'm going to plug in the numbers real quick. Yeah, 24 rushing attempts per game. So if we get into a circumstance in which this becomes a positive game script and that number creeps to the 24, maybe even more attempts, that's why earlier I was saying 30, there's a possibility of that in which if the Bears take an early lead and they just keep running the crap out of the ball, Monungai would probably end up racking a bunch of yards against the defense that's allowing 5.27 yards per carry on average to opposing running backs this season. Thank you. All right, continuing on, we had Red Sox 2240 who says, pick one in the flex, Chase Brown, Tedderell McMillan, or BTJ. In a full PPR scoring format, of those available options, I currently have BTJ number 1, Chase Brown number 2, Tedero McMillan number 3. So BTJ would be my suggestion in a full PPR for the flex. Thank you. Justin M sends in a question. Justin, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It says pick 1 in a full PPR. No, it is pick 2. Okay. Pick 2 full PPR. Shakir, Dobbs, Hunt. Let me see where I have Dobbs comparatively to Hunt, because it's really the only difference maker in this circumstance. Okay. So as it currently stands, where the heck is Kareem Hunt? Yeah, okay. So of the available options, I would play Shakir and Hunt. Those would be my 2 as of today. If you wanted to lean towards both wide receivers, I could justify it because, again, of the receiving potential for upside. But considering Hunt is going to have no Pacheco in the lineup, he's going to have all the goal line potential opportunity share. And, of course, the Bills can't stop a run, much less a nosebleed. I would expect for a lot of opportunity share to go in the direction of Hunt. Just like in this most recent game in which they took each other on in the playoffs, Hunt found a lot of success, and they'll continue to lean upon that. So Shakir and Hunt are my 2 suggestions there, Justin. Thank you. King Salo sends in a question. Says, please pick 2 PPR, 2 running backs, and a flex. DK, Josh Downs, Chris Olave, Kareem Hunt, Ashton Jeanty, Woody Marks, Travion Henderson. I think I'm playing 3 running backs here. Yeah, I am. I'm going to play Travion Henderson, Ashton Jeanty, and Kareem Hunt as my 1 through 3 combos. Let me see where I have Woody Marks comparatively to Hunt. They're close. They're in the same tier. I could justify playing Woody Marks over Hunt because of the receiving upside that he'll be exposed to. But what Hunt potentially has in terms of the upside for a touchdown is just too valuable for me to pass off. So I'll roll with Hunt, Jeanty, and Henderson as my RB1, 2, and flex. And then as for your second question, PPR, Chase Brown, Addison, Tracy Jr., or DK. Out of those available, Tracy Jr. is my highest ranked in a full PPR scoring format at running back. Or out of all these options in the flex. Thank you. Chorizo sends in a question mark. Chorizo with a question mark at the end. Says PPR, tight end and flex. Bowers, Pitts, Henderson, Jacoby Myers, and Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, Bowers is my tight end, and Travion Henderson is going to play in my flex today. Thank you. Janik sends in a question. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Says in a full PPR, I have Drake May with a week 14 bye and Bo Nix. I got offered Henderson for Nix. Should I do it? Also, how do we feel about QJ and Dobbins for Chase Brown? My other RBs are Tracy, Jalen Warren, and Kamara. Okay, so when you say QJ, do you mean Quinshon Judkins? If you were going to trade Quinshon Judkins and Dobbins for Chase Brown, I would say that doesn't make sense because I think Quinshon Judkins has more value than Chase Brown theoretically the rest of the season. So the fact that you would give away Judkins and Dobbins for Brown just doesn't really calculate in my brain, to which I would just probably keep what you have and keep the depth rolling with Tracy, Warren, Quinshon Judkins, and Dobbins. And then if you need to, wait for another big boom performance here out of these available options you have at running backs, then ship them off afterward. In regards to making a trade in which you have the opportunity to get Henderson, sure, I would do it. I have no problem moving Nix in order to accomplish this because you're not going to replace Drake May for the remainder of the season, and in no circumstance would you ever play Nix ahead of him. As for your other question, it says my other wide receivers are Lamb, Addison, Harrison, and Booty. I'm not sure what the widers. Oh, I understand what you're saying. So QJ is not Quinshon Judkins. Guys, if you guys are going to type in QJ in any circumstance, just type in Judkins or Johnston. That makes my life so much easier. So the fact that you are mentioning your wide receivers leads me to believe, Janik, that you actually are mentioning it as Johnston and Dobbins for Chase Brown, to which at that point I'm okay making that trade. Thank you. All right, moving on. We had Andrew Myers who sends in a question. Thank you, Andrew. Says in a full PPR pick 2 between Worthy, J-Mo, T. Higgins, Nico, BTJ. I'm going to play Nico and I'm going to play BTJ there. Says worried about Nico versus Denver? I wouldn't. Patrick Surtain's not playing. He's out. Going to the injured reserve most likely with a pectoral strain. So Nico against their number 2 cornerback, Riley Moss, who has given up their most receiving yards amongst all their cornerbacks this season because teams have specifically had to target him while Patrick Surtain has been on the field. Yes, I will take Nico and BTJ. That's my suggestion. If you don't feel comfortable with Nico, then the alternative options are on screen in terms of potential other paths you can go in terms of wide receiver in my rankings. Thank you. All right, Lilish, what's up? Says, good morning, Andrew. Long time no talk. That's correct. We haven't seen you in a while, but glad you're back. Let's see what you have here. Says, start 2, Chase Brown, Dowdle, Travion Henderson, or Kyle Pitts. Okay, of your available options in a PPR scoring format, I'm playing Travion Henderson and I'm playing Chase Brown. Those are my 2 most, at least those are the 2 highest ranked players I have in regards to projections comparatively to 4. Also in a full PPR, start 2 between Kendrick Bourne, Bill, and Bam Knight. Genuinely, I don't want to play Bill, so I'm going to play Bam Knight and Bourne in this circumstance. Thank you. Alex Songrass Real Estate says in a 6-point per passing touchdown, also 20 yards equals 1 passing point. JD5, Dart, Flacco. I'm just going to play JD. I'm perfectly fine there. Again, I don't really trust Flacco's shoulder, so I don't want to take the risk of it, and I'd rather just play JD5. It says 0 PPR, Kittle or Ferguson. If it's a 0 point per reception, I would play Kittle because I think his touchdown upside today is a little bit more implied. And then as for a non-PPR scoring format between Tedero, McMillan, Dowdle, Sutton, Ferguson, Charbonnet, and Walker, at that point, genuinely, I think I'm playing Ferguson or Charbonnet, to which I probably end up positioning myself to play Sharbs or... I think I probably end up just playing Sharbs there and just cashing in the touchdown potential if I had to pick one of them. Otherwise, it's Fergie. Thank you. Santos or Badgley, I prefer Santos. Again, I mentioned it earlier this week in the waiver wire episode. The kickers of the Chicago Bears, I say kickers as in plural because Santos has started 2 of the last 4 and Jake Moody has started 2 of the last 4. The kickers of the Chicago Bears have scored 15 points per game in the last 4 games. Again, they've scored 60 points as a duo in the last 4 games. They have made 15 field goals in the last 4 games. A lot of field goals, a lot of stalling in the red zone. So Santos is my preferred of the two. It says full PPR, Barner or Hawkinson. Let me see where I have Hawkinson. With the backup tight end for the Vikings out, it did elevate the potential of Hawkinson. But I currently do have Barner ranked ahead of him, primarily because the expectation that, of course, Cooper Kupp is out. And additionally, of course, we have no Derek Young or Jake Bobo. So primarily, it's a matter of who's going to score a touchdown this week. Is it going to be JSN, Charbonnet, or AJ Barner? To which I believe it's probably all 3 of them going into the matchup. Full PPR, Henderson, DK Franklin, and JCM. I would play Travion Henderson there. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it, my man. Daisy sends in a follow-up, says half PPR, 3 flex, Downs, Harvey, Michael Carter, Gainwell, Xavier Hutchinson, or Jatavion Sanders. Okay, I don't trust Jatavion Sanders because the tight end position within the Carolina Panthers organization has thus far this season just purely been a rotation. It's been a committee situation at tight end, which isn't uncommon to see for teams that just don't have an established number 1. Over the course of this season, it's just been too much of a rotation between Tremble, Sanders, and Evans. So I have no interest in playing Sanders there. I'd have no interest in playing Hutchinson either against the Denver Broncos in this circumstance. Gainwell isn't much of value, so I honestly would play Downs, Harvey, and Carter as of today. Thank you, Daisy. Tommy Gunn, what's up? Says, any potential snow/weather games this week? Looking at the latest report as of this current moment in time, the highest implicated game for potential weather impact is in Green Bay, Wisconsin today as the Green Bay Packers take on the Carolina Panthers. The only potential concern here is that there's about 33% precipitation coverage in the area. So in the event in which it does rain, there's a possibility that it could rain over the stadium. The likelihood is that it's probably not. Let me see what the current weather looks like. Let's see here. Weather at Green. All right, so the current weather at Lambeau Field is as such. Let's see what we have here. Okay, let me get an... let's block that. Let's look at daily. My goodness. I need an ad blocker. These websites are horrible. Yeah, the only thing like this... I mean, technically, if you're concerned about wind, you could be concerned about it in this circumstance, but ultimately, no. I don't think it's enough to be concerned about as of right now. I don't think it plays too big of an impact in terms of the potential of the outcome of that game or the overall usage of those receivers and or tight ends. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it, my man. MS Lizard sends in a question. Says in a half PPR, Kamara or Pitts? Let me check where I have Kamara comparatively ranked, and I will let you know right now. As of this current moment, I will play Kyle Pitts there. Thank you. Twisted Folk sends in a question. Twisted, thank you. It says Tyler Warren, Tracy, or Sutton in a half PPR. I have Tyler Warren ranked higher. Yeah. To confirm, I do have Tyler Warren ranked the highest of the group. That's where I would go. Thank you. Servancelot sends in a question. It says Montgomery or Jamison Williams PPR overload. Also have Gibbs. Oof, that's a tough one. I mean, look, here's the thing about Jameson Williams. He does have inherent risk. So he's either going to score you 6 points or 16 points. As for David Montgomery, he's kind of in that same range of existence to where, like, you could very easily get burnt and you're just completely screwed because he's either going to score you probably somewhere near like 8 or 13 points. So he has a higher floor, but he also has a lesser potential for ceiling in my mind. So in this kind of circumstance, it's just purely a matter of, do you want the floor or do you want the upside? And that's what got to be decided by you. The way that I currently have my projection set up, I go for the overall median of the two, and I have it currently set with Montgomery as the higher rank between the two of them. Thank you. Renee sends in a question, says, Noel or Downs in the flex? I would prefer to play Josh Downs of the Indianapolis Colts. Also, Jones or Goff, I would play, sorry, I was going to say Aaron Jones. No, it's Daniel Jones. So I would stack Jones and Downs as of right now, Renee. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Drippy Dario says, yo, Andrew, we up early. Let's get the dub. I need 2 running backs with Gibbs in my flex. Okay, in a full PPR, my options are Monangai, Chase Brown, Montgomery, and Henderson. Monangai and Henderson are my 1-2 combo. Leave Gibbs in your flex. You're good to go there, brother. Thank you very much, Drippy. Hope you're doing well. Kenny, what's up? Says running back 2, Woody Marks or Bam Knight. Let me check where I have them currently. What's your scoring format, by the way, Kenny? Let me see if you typed it in the live chat. No, you didn't mention it. Okay. So I'm going to try to find the answer for both, just so to kind of make it easier that way. And then I'll let you know. Okay, so in the event in which we're playing in a half PPR, I would play Bam Knight. In the event in which it's a full PPR, I have Woody Marks ranked higher. So Woody in a full PPR, Bam Knight in a half PPR. As for flex, it says Trey Tucker, Jameer DK, or Parker Washington. I would play Jameer DK this week. Thank you. Bryce sends in a question. Thank you very much, Bryce. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see what you have here, brother. Okay, so it's full PPR. We have Gadsden, Charbonnet, or Parker Washington. I have Gadsden ranked the highest in a PPR, so that's the direction I would go with. I play Oronde Gadsden. So I'm already starting BTJ and Warren at tight end. Different league. Start Flacco or Sam Darnold stacked with JSN. I would stack, Sam Darnold with JSN. Look, here's the thing. Flacco's injury scares me. So already in itself, I'm trying to get myself out of starting him this week. And then additionally, when you talk about the potential matchup on hand with the Washington Commanders, I mean, they've allowed, 2+ passing touchdowns to the last 3 of the last 4 games in which they've played. So I would anticipate for Sam Darnold to kind of follow that trend, get himself 200 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, be a solid play, and just not really mess your week up. So I'll go in that direction as of right now against Washington's defense. Actually, maybe it is more. So they've allowed 3 touchdowns to Mahomes, 3 to Dak Prescott, 2 to Caleb Williams. Then they allowed 2 to Michael Penix, 3 to Geno Smith, 2 to Jordan Love. I mean, everybody's scoring 2+ touchdowns against them, except for Justin Herbert, which was a little bit of a fluky game in his case. So for now, again, feeling pretty good about Sam Darnold there, Bryce. Thank you. Alex, thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it. It says, Alec Pierce or AJ Barner. I need DF Raiders. I need a defense between the Raiders, Cowboys, and the Chiefs. I would play the Raiders defense if I had to choose between those 3 because the Chiefs won't be able to stop the Bills and the Cowboys won't be able to stop the Arizona Cardinals. There may be a chance in which the Raiders could genuinely stop the Jaguars, but that's primarily because Trevor Lawrence throws interceptions because he just doesn't know what he's looking at. As for Alec Pierce versus AJ Barner, I think it depends on scoring format entirely. I think both of them are very much so like boom or bust players in their entirety. So as it stands right now, okay, there's AJ Barner in that. I'm going to play AJ Barner in both circumstances. Assuming Cooper Kupp is out, that's the direction that I'm leaning towards. Okay, so I have a couple updates on my phone. Let me just go ahead and read them out here. If there's anything of importance that we need to make adjustments with. Joe Flacco will play 24 minutes ago. That was the expected. Not a big deal there. And then everything else, no biggie. Okay, cool. Continuing on. We roll towards Cyanide, who says, in a full PPR, David Montgomery, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, or Jordan Addison. Let me see where I have Addison comparatively to the group. And then I'll go ahead and let you know. So as of this moment, of your available options here, I have Jordan Addison in a full PPR ranked the highest of the bunch. So the order at which I would rank them would go Jordan Addison 1, Rico Dowdle 2, Charbonnet 3, and then it goes David Montgomery 4 and Kenneth Walker 5. So Addison would be my number one option. If you need 2 running backs and 1 flex, it would then be Charbonnet, Rico, and Addison. But hear me out. Because you have K9 and Charbonnet, I wouldn't mind the combination of starting both just to be able to encapsulate the entire Seattle backfield. That way, in case somehow Kenneth Walker has an incredible game, you don't miss out on the potential of that. So there is a discussion and a compensation in which we could just like make no mistake, just play all the Seattle backfield. I don't mind the approach there. The way I have it projected, though, it's Charbs, Rico, Addison. If you were going to theoretically play Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, I would just pair them both up with Addison and roll it because Rico has a little bit of potential risk with Chuba Hubbard there. So if you wanted to just encapsulate the entire Seattle backfield, it would be these 3. Thank you. Bus sends in a question. Says in a full PPR, flex Laporta, Dobbs, Franklin, or Jennings. I believe I have Laporta ranked the highest in a full PPR. Let me confirm this. I do, in fact, have Laporta ranked the highest, and that's the direction in which I would point you towards. Play Sam Laporta today. Thank you. Rodrigo sends in a question. Says full PPR, Josh Downs or Troy Franklin in my flex spot. Checking my rankings right now. I have Franklin 1 spot ahead of Josh Downs. I really do like them both. If you wanted to play Downs over Franklin, that's fine. I have Franklin legitimately 1 spot ahead of him, and the separation between their fantasy projections is less than a half a point, so I'm cool with going with either of the 2. It's purely just a reception difference of what ends up happening. Who gets the accurate pass, who ends up getting the overall opportunity on a consistent basis. My starters are wide receiver Booty and Slayton. I mean, genuinely, I would play Downs and Franklin over both of those guys, but to each their own, I would suggest you play Franklin there. Thank you. Rusty Wright sends in a question. Says, half PPR flex, Dobbins or Gadsden? Okay, good question. Let's see where I have Gadsden comparatively, and I'll let you know right now. Gadsden. Okay, so Gadsden right now I have ahead of J.K. Dobbins in a half PPR, so that's what I would play. So in this case, fire up all your Chargers, and I mean, there's no better week to genuinely start up all your Chargers because they take on the Tennessee Titans. And the Tennessee Titans, unfortunately, I mean, they just don't have anything. They don't have an offense. They don't have a run game. They don't have a defense. They don't have a run stop. They don't have a secondary. I mean, genuinely, their best player on defense, Jeffrey Simmons, is out. Their arguably second best defensive player, which is Xavier Woods, is out. Then Arden Key is expected to be traded, and that's why he's not playing today. I mean, at this point, I'm just firing up all my Chargers and hoping for the best, primarily because the Titans just, they can't stop a soul, unfortunately. They've given up 38, 31 points in the last 2 games here. So expect for a pretty decent pour on to that secondary and defense. Thank you. Bodie Derby. Bodie, hope you're doing well, my man. Says pick one in a full PPR. Pollard, Christian Watson, or Parker Washington. Genuinely, I would play Parker Washington out of the available. Let me confirm that with my rankings, and then I'll let you know right now. Yeah, as it currently stands, my highest ranked player of the 3 would be Parker Washington of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you. Cowboys22 says Travis Etienne Jr. or London in the flex standard scoring. In a standard scoring format, I often lean towards the running back to have the clear advantage because that reception count isn't going to make an impact for someone like London. So considering London has the matchup of Christian Gonzalez, which is primarily why I have him so lowly ranked on my screen, half PPR rankings, I will play Travis Etienne between the 2 of them. Thank you. Austin Swing sends in a question. Austin, thank you. Should I play Dobbs or Addison in a full PPR? As it currently stands, between the 2 of them, I have Addison. Where is Addison? I have Addison ranked 1 spot ahead of Romeo Dobbs. So genuinely at this point, flip a coin or just roll with Addison because that's my primary suggestion. Ultimately, J.J. McCarthy is a little bit of a tricky situation there, but I'm willing to take the risk in a negative game script against the 5th best matchup at the wide receiver position. All right, Softcord sends out a question. Says, full PPR. I need to fill in my flex between Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, Ashton Genty, or Troy Franklin. Thanks and have a great Sunday. You too as well. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's either between Deebo Samuel and Ashton Genty for me. In a full PPR scoring format, I think it might end up being Genty as the primary. Yeah, Genty is my number 1 ranked of the available options. So it would go Genty 1, Deebo Samuel 2, then it would be Keenan Allen 3, and Troy Franklin 4. So play Genty in this circumstance against Jacksonville. Thank you. All right, Shad sends in a question. Says, drop Bam Knight for Manungai. Bad move? No, you should drop Bam Knight immediately for Manungai. You should start Manungai. He's going to win you the week. Thank you. OG Sumo Vibe sends in a question. Thank you, Sumo. Says, PPR, 2 wide receivers and 2 flex between Rico, Henderson, George. I'm assuming George is like George Kittle. London and Sutton. Tedderall McMillan. Okay. It says, clarifying on my super chat, Bijan's my RB1. I need an RB2, 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. We have Rico, Henderson, Pickens. Oh, George is George Pickens. Okay. London and Sutton. Okay. And then Tedderall McMillan. Cool. Thank you for the clarification, OG Sumo. I appreciate that. As someone who watches a lot of sumo, and I've been watching the most recent, I've been watching for about 2 years now. The actual like legitimate Japanese sumo. There, guys, it is entertaining, but you obviously have to stay up till about 2 a.m. to watch it. So unless you guys are degenerates like me, that's the only time in which you'd be able to enjoy that. Okay, getting to your question though. Henderson is my RB2. I'm playing Pickens as my wide receiver along with London. And then if I'm looking for 2 flexible options, I'm playing Tedderall and McMillan. Probably, let me see where I have Rico Dowdle comparatively to Sutton here. Nope, I don't have Rico there. So in this circumstance, you have 6 players. We can only play 5. I'm benching Rico Dowdle. Everybody else starts. Thank you. Okta sends in a question. Says Sutton or Dobbs. As of right now, it depends on scoring format. Actually, I don't think it really does make a difference. I have Cortland Sutton ahead of him in both circumstances. Yeah, I'll take Cortland Sutton there between the two. Says Dobbs zone beater at home. Yeah, no, I get it. Listen, you're using my own words against me. That's not fair. If you want to play Dobbs, you can. I currently just have Sutton projected for higher. Thank you. I understand. Listen, he is their primary zone beater. I get it. Trust me. I know. I looked at it. It's very much so a convincing point there. But I want to play Sutton in that circumstance. Squeeze Duke 4 says, how cooked am I? Started Tua and Zay on Thursday in a full PPR. We have Amon-Ra, Nico, Rico, Kyle, Barner, Chargers defense, and Aubrey. Do you think I can still win? Yeah, I think you can still win. Look, here's the reality of the situation of fantasy football. If your opposing team has a bunch of good players, but not a single one of them scores a touchdown, you win this week. That's it. That's the name of the game. Which team scores more touchdowns? Legitimately, guys, if you go into your fantasy leagues and go look at your matchups and the ones that you've won and lost, just count the volume of touchdowns that have been scored by each side of those teams. And tell me how many times this season you have won or lost when you have had the majority of touchdowns on your side. It's all about touchdowns. So, again, looking at the players you have on roster, you have Amon-Ra, who leads all wide receivers in terms of touchdowns. You have Nico, who has a potential matchup here where there's no Patrick Surtain. You have Barner, who's a red zone threat. You have Kyle Manungai, who's absorbing all the value of that backfield. DeAndre Swift scoring a touchdown in 5 of the last 6 games. Could end up scoring 2 today. The Chargers defense, again, is going to maul them. Aubrey's going to do what he does. I think you're in a really relatively strong position. Your X factor purely today, though, is Rico Dowdle. Can he get the job done, brother? Thank you again. Appreciate it. All right. James King sends in a question. It says, in a full PPR league, we have Myers, DK, Dowdle at the flex, ? Okay. So let me see where I have Dowdle comparatively to Chimere DK. So I have Rico Dowdle 2 spots ahead of Chimere DK. So I could go with either of the two very much so comfortably, but I do have Rico Dowdle 2 spots ahead of him, so I would go with Dowdle there as my suggestion. If you wanted to play DK, I have no issue with that. As for your second question, Pitts or Downs, I have Kyle Pitts ranked higher. And then third question says, should I not play Fairbairn? Ryland is available. Let me look at it real quick. So as it currently stands, should we not play? You can play Fairbairn. I just thought that game was going to hit the under. I think the current total was at like 40.5 last I checked. Let me confirm this. The game I think is going to hit the under. Now, if you think the game is just going to, it's at 40.5 still. Yeah. I think it's going to be an under game, to which if we anticipate a lot of field goals to be made, then sure, we can go in that direction. Otherwise, I would just prefer to play the kicker associated with an offense that is going to be scoring more often than not, because of the high scoring potential event against the Cowboys. If we just look at the potential of, let me just pull it up real quick here, just so we have the reference points. I have to log into my other email because my account is not attached to this one. There we go. Beautiful. Why can't that not work? Maybe it didn't. It didn't. Jeez. Okay. Anyway, long story short, because this is not working on my end, I don't mind the idea of playing Kaimi Fairbairn there. As of right now, within my kicker rankings, I have Kaimi Fairbairn as my number 14 kicker. But if I had to choose, yes, I would pick up Ryland and I would play him this week. Thank you. PC sends in a question. Says PPR sit one. Vidal, Jalen Warren, Manungai. If I'm sitting one, it's Jalen Warren. Thank you. BTJ or Sutton, I'm playing BTJ. Thank you. Cynthia sends in a question. Cynthia, thank you. All right, says, who do I start in the flex? Aaron Jones or Alec Pierce? Okay, depends on scoring format. Says, brother, I sent $2. You better answer my question. Listen, I'm getting to your question. Relax. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. We have Aaron Jones or Alec Pierce. If you're playing in a full PPR, I'll take Alec Pierce there. If you're playing in a half PPR, I will take Aaron Jones. If you're playing in a standard, I'll take Aaron Jones. Thank you. We Buy Homes sends in a question. Says the following. Says, flex one, Hunt, Bam, BTJ, or Henderson. Okay. You got a relatively solid options here available. In regards to your best of the available here in a non-PPR scoring format, I would play Henderson and I would play Kareem Hunt. But if I can only pick one, I probably just roll with Hendy there. Thank you. Justice Fair says, pick three, Rome, Nico, Adams, Rice, Facility, JT, Bijan. I'm so confused as to what that means. But if I'm picking three of the four wide receivers, Rashee Rice is number one, Adams is two, Nico Collins is three, Rome is the odd man out. Thank you. All right, continuing on, let's go ahead and scroll back up here. We got to continue to answer some of these questions, rolling through again. I'm trying to catch up to the best of my ability. We have Ben, who says Henderson or Genty. Thanks. As of right now, I believe I have Henderson ranked higher, but I can confirm this in both formats. Henderson's my number 11 and a half PPR, and he's still ahead of Genty in a full. Even though Genty does move up in a full PPR comparatively, he does not surpass him in my mind. I would go with Hendy this week. Thank you. Alrighty, continuing on. We have Fourth and Inches, who says, start two running backs, three wide receivers, and one flex. My opinions are, your opinions, you mean your options. You got auto-corrected. It's okay. It says Gibbs, Chase Brown, Manungai, Charbonnet, Pickens, JSN, McMillan, Sutton, and my quarterback is Allen and my tight end is Kraft. Okay, so Allen and Kraft already set up for success. At running back, you should play Gibbs and Manungai. At wide receiver, you should play JSN and Pickens. And then you should also play McMillan. And then within your flex position, let's play Chase Brown. So basically, bench Charbonnet and Sutton today. Thank you. All right, continuing on, we had Beware Dream, who says, in a 10-team PPR, started Rico, Henderson, Marks, Quentin Johnston, or Charbonnet. If I'm starting three of these available five options, I am going to play Henderson, I'm going to play Marks, and I'm going to play Rico. Those are the three. Thank you. All righty, we took care of Cynthia's question earlier. Spliff. Says Bam Knight, Troy Franklin, or Woody Marks. It depends on scoring format. If it's a full PPR, I'll play Marks. If it's a half PPR or standard, I'll play Bam Knight. Thank you. Emmanuel Ramirez says drop Golden for Ridley or Tootin before the trade deadline. I would feel more comfortable dropping him for Ridley because I think there's a genuine chance in which he gets, moved. So that's cool with me. Thank you. Eric sends in a question. Says Downs, JCM, Slayton, DK. I'll play DK there. If you need two of these options, technically speaking, I would probably just pair DK with Downs. Thank you. Christopher says Horton worth a flex over Woody Marks. I would not say so. I think he's worth a flex if you had a significantly lesser option. If you had said, Andrew, can I play Torrey Horton over Nick Chubb? At that point, I'd feel more comfortable. Woody Marks is a completely different monster. He's a solidified RB2. So I'd go in the direction of just playing Woody Marks outright. Thank you. Mike King sends in a question and says, pick 2.5 PPR. We have Vlad, we have Kyle Manungai, we have Lad, we have Rome, and we have Nico. So here's my issue I'm trying to figure out who the heck Vlad is. Okay, it says half PPR, Lad, Rome, Adunze, Nico, Vlad, Kyle Manungai. I don't remember a Vladimir in the NFL. Is this a hockey player? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, so in this circumstance of your question, I don't know what. Maybe instead of Vlad, it's Vidal. Maybe that's what you meant. Maybe it's Kamani Vidal. That's got to be it. There's no other. I don't know what else it could be. There's no other V. Let me see here. Yeah. I don't know what else it could theoretically be. So, in the event in which it is Vidal, Vidal and Manungai would be my 1-2 starts in a half PPR, probably. Let me just confirm this real quick on my end. If that is not Vidal, I would... Okay, so yes. Let's say, for example, if it's a half PPR and it is Vidal and it is Kyle Manungai, those would be my 2 starters. In the event in which it's not Kamani Vidal, I would play Kyle Manungai next to Lad McConkey. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. All right, Will Taylor sends in a question. Says, good morning. Start 3 and flex 1. We have Bam, Chase Brown, Henderson, Tedero, McMillan, London. It's a PPR league. I played Waddle on Thursday. I need to upside. Thanks, bro. Okay. So of your available options, I would play start 3, flex 1. So I need to start 3 running backs, I'm assuming is what you mean. No, actually, it's just playing 4 of them. Okay. The 4 best options in a full PPR as such. Let's see where I have Knight comparatively to the crew. Okay, so I would play T-Mac. Yeah, so basically if I'm playing 4 of these players, the odd man out is Bam Knight. So I would play Chase Brown, Henderson, Tedero, McMillan in London. Bam Knight's on my bench. Thank you. Luis Perez sends in a question. Says, Troy Franklin or Torrey Horton, sneaky PPR. I would still play Torrey Horton. I would still play Troy Franklin there. Thank you. Powerful 83 says, pick 2 in a full PPR. Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Jamison Williams, Booty Pitts. Thanks, brother. So of your available here, let me see where I have JMO comparatively to Kamara and Kenneth Walker. Yeah, as it stands, of your available options, my 2 highest ranked are Jamison Williams and Kyle Pitts. Those are the 2 that I would roll with this week. Powerful 80. Thank you. FRS sends in a question. FRS, thank you. Says PPR. Pick 1 running back, 2 flex, 1 tight end between Dowdle, Henderson, Charbonnet, Tedero, McMillan, Sutton, AJ Barner, and Theo Johnson. Okay, so in a full PPR scoring format, as it currently stands, I have AJ Barner ahead of Theo Johnson, so I play AJ Barner there. They're back-to-back in my full PPR, but AJ takes the cake primarily because of the injury to the receivers of the Seahawks. As for your potential running back play, between Henderson, Charbonnet, and Dowdle, I would play Henderson. And then between your 2, or filling in 2 flex spots here in this circumstance, I would play Dowdle and Tedero. So to, go over again, Henderson, AJ Barner, Dowdle, Tedero. Thank you, FRS. Appreciate it. iShine101 sends in a question. iShine, hope you're doing well. Full PPR, pick 2, Rico, Jamison Williams, Bam Knight, Parker Washington, or Troy Franklin. Okay, let's see where we have the availability of Bam Knight comparatively to the... Okay, let's see. We have Rico. Okay. You have JMO. As of right now, of the available options you have, I'm playing both running backs. I'll take Bam Knight and I'll take Rico. Thank you. Like the Gene says, morning, buddy. PPR. You like JK's matchup better than Kenneth Walker's this week? Yeah, the issue with Kenneth Walker is that I can't guarantee at all, in any circumstance ever, that he's going to score a touchdown unless he rips off a huge run, which he hasn't been able to do thus far this season, to the point to where he falls into the end zone. So in this circumstance, not really in love with the overall potential for the matchup. I think the only time he's ever ripped off a huge run for a touchdown was against the Steelers back in week, 2 or 3? So not too keen on the idea of Kenneth Walker there. So as of right now, since I need to start 1 with Henderson, yeah, if I was going to play 1 between the 2, I would play J.K. Dobbins, genuinely. I could start all 3 if I sit Slayton. I mean, honestly, is it a full PPR? Let me see where I have Kenneth Walker comparatively to Slayton. I would play all 3 running backs. Thank you. Ryan Luckin sends in a question. Says PPR rest of season, Kincaid, Pitts, or Pollard? PPR rest of season? I mean, there's so many variables here that I'd probably just stick with Pitts for now. Thank you. Timo sends in a question. Says, good morning, big dog. In a 10-team PPR, BTJ, Marvin Harrison, Travion Henderson, or Kittle at the flex. Brother, Travion Henderson's my highest ranked, so that's the direction in which I would lean you towards. Says, I have Warren at tight end, Rice as my wide receiver, along with Jamar Chase. Much appreciated. Yeah, so in which I currently have it structured, Henderson is my highest ranked player, which is then followed by George Kittle, and then it's BTJ, and then it's Marvin Harrison. So is it significantly close enough to where... No, actually, it's Marvin Harrison ahead of BTJ. Apologies. But where's Kittle? Yeah, I'm going to play a Travion Henderson there. That's my highest ranked of the group. Thank you, Timo. Colin Smith says PPR. Quentin Johnston, Franklin, Harvey, or Michael Carter. I'm going to play Quentin Johnston. I genuinely would just fire up all my Chargers in this circumstance. Thank you. Anthony C says, good morning. I need a PPR pick 3. BTJ Addison, Jalen Warren, Tracy. Cool. Jalen Warren, Tyrone Tracy, BTJ. Addison's on my bench. Thank you. 2 for Flinching sends in a question. Thank you, 2 for. Says, I was offered Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Barkley for Bijan Robinson. Rest of the team is Bijan, Hampton, Irving, Harvey, Hubbard, Monungai, Keenan. I make this trade immediately. Yeah, I will take Rice, Worthy, and Barkley for Bijan. Thank you. I think just Rice and Barkley for Bijan is worth it. I mean, that's just a steal. You're scamming them. So in the event in which you can still get Rice, Worthy, and Barkley to accomplish this, get it done. Congratulations. Firm handshakes to you. You just scammed that team. Lee Flores sends out a question. Thank you, Lee. Okay, Lee says the following. Says in a half PPR pick 2, Walker, Charbonnet, Marks, Dowdle, Spears. Of those available options, I would play Marks alongside of, I believe Dowdle's my next highest running back. Let me confirm this. Yeah, Marks and Dowdle are my 1-2 combo in that circumstance. Thank you. Okay, so we've been here live streaming on the channel for about an hour and 10 minutes. I hope you guys are doing well. Again, a quick reminder for those of you guys who are just joining the channel, the rankings that are right here are up to date as of this morning in regards to a half PPR scoring format for my top 36 running backs and wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends, and of course my top 12 kickers and defenses. Again, I'm answering questions via the super chat, of course, right here. This will determine the order of which we are at. For those of you who are wondering, of course, claiming priority via super. I greatly appreciate the support you guys send in that direction. Again, if you guys want my all-encompassing rankings, you can find that via Patreon and or, of course, by signing up using code Andrew via Betr and accomplishing the 3 steps of using code Andrew, making that first-time deposit, and then, of course, making a first-time play. Thank you. All right, let's continue on. We have a question from Spliff as a follow-up. It says, pick 2 between Bam Knight, Troy Franklin, Woody Marks, Tyrone Tracy. If I'm picking 2 of the available, it's Woody Marks and Tyrone Tracy. Thank you. Aaron Northcutt sends in a question. Aaron, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Aaron says, I played Flowers. I need 1 wideout and 2 flex between Keenan Allen, Addison, Monungai, Diggs, Dowdle, Hubbard, also Jalen Warren or Vidal. I would rather play Vidal over Jalen Warren 10 times out of 10 probably today. As for your previous question, if you need 1 wideout, is it a full PPR format, Aaron? Let me see what you have here. My last question, would Worthy start over them? And it says Santos, Butker, McManus, or Prater. Okay, so you can get the question. Okay, so first and foremost, let's answer the kicker question because you had a bunch of these. Okay, so Santos is my highest ranked kicker of the bunch. That's who I'm playing. So that's what I would go with. Give me Cairo Santos there. As for, it says last question, would rather play Worthy over the rest of them? Looking at the availability, I think it depends on format. Like if we're talking about a half PPR scoring format in this circumstance, Keenan Allen I have ranked higher. I'd also have Keenan Allen ranked higher in a full PPR. So Keenan Allen is going to be my guy at wideout here in comparison to the alternative field of potential options you have. Actually, no, you have Diggs available. So I play Diggs as my wideout. Then I would play Monungai as my 1 flex. And then if it's a full PPR, I probably end up playing Diggs as my other. If it's a half PPR, I'll play Dowdle as my other. That's the way in which I go about it. And then, yes, I will play Vidal over Warren there, Aaron. Thank you again. Appreciate it. All right, we had DJ who sends in a question. DJ says, full PPR flex, Debo or James Cook? I would rather just play James Cook there. I know that Debo Samuel is going to have a great week here ahead, especially considering, again, Jaden Daniels is back. And in 3 of the last 4 games in which we have seen Debo Samuel play with, Jaden Daniels, there's been enough opportunity share for him to be legitimate for fantasy purposes. We're talking about weeks 1 and 2, 17.4, 22.6. And then against the Chargers in the return of Jaden Daniels, 23.6. And then, unfortunately, the most recent weeks when he got injured, not too much value. But when we're talking about the potential which he's going to provide with a healthy Jaden Daniels, expect for a lot of upside there from Debo. So in the event in which we can lean towards playing him or James Cook, I have a hard time not playing James Cook because of the touchdown consistency that he has found over the course of the last 20 plus games here. So because of that alone, I will continue to lean towards James Cook. If you wanted to play Debo, I don't have an issue with it because I think they're both going to be fantastic. Thank you. Tyler Van Essen says full PPR, Henderson or Gadsden? I would rather play Henderson. Thank you. Steve sends in a question. Says Dowdle, Hendy. Can we trust Hendy? Well, this is the only time in which we can objectively trust him because there's no Ramondre Stevenson. Stevenson's out. This backfield is going to have 20 plus potential rushing attempts available and a handful of maybe 5 to 7 targets available. And yes, Terrell Jennings is going to be in the mix, but Henderson should be the primary number one. And based on how he looked last week with his 7.5 yards per carry, we're hoping he's going to able to potentially put together a very similar kind of efficiency share as we approach the matchup against Atlanta, who's just gotten torched for over 140 yards in each of the last 2 weeks by opposing running backs. All right, let's see here. A Run Benny, who says, Jay Downs, Kamara, or Parker Washington? I need one. Okay, I think it depends on format. Let me see where I have Kamara in a half PPR comparatively. Yeah, in a half PPR scoring format, I would just take Kamara there. In a full PPR, I could justify playing Josh Downs or Parker Washington. I think I could. I have them closely ranked to Kamara, but I still have Kamara ranked higher. So in the event in which you wanted to play Washington and or Downs, you can, but I'm going Kamara in both circumstances. Thank you. Alrighty, let's see here. Seahawks, Bears, aggressive trade. Okay, no problem. All right, we're good to go. Continuing on, we had Flotation. Oh, here we go. Perfect timing. I'm looking at my phone. We had Flotation who sends in a question, says, good morning, X, sir. Thank you. Okay, let's see what you have here, brother. All right, you sent me your team on Twitter. Let's see what we have. Says Andrew. Of course, Andrews goes off. Why did we bench him? Oh, no. No. All right, it's all right. It's all right. Next week, it's okay. Let's see what you have here. Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, Woody Marks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Olave, Hunter Henry, DJ Moore, Jackson Dart, Texans. Yeah, beautiful team. I don't think I change a single thing about this. In a full PPR, I'm going to prefer to play DJ Moore there over Aaron Jones. That is correct, and I would keep it as is. Yeah, I would have loved to have played Mark Andrews there. But, hey, listen, we can just hope that Hunter Henry falls into the end zone today as of right now. But otherwise, lineup is set, good to go. Hopefully looking for a dub in this week. Thank you, Flotation. Okay, Renee sends in a follow-up question. Renee, thank you very much. Says in a standard scoring format, PPR, Franklin, Noel, or Downs. In a standard PPR format, I have Franklin ranked the highest. And then Downs would be second, Noel would be third. As to your next question, Jones or Goff, I would play Daniel Jones. Sorry, didn't include type of league in the first question. Got it, understood. Yeah, we're going to play Franklin there alongside of Daniel Jones. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Spencer Goldberg sends in a question. Thank you, Spencer. Says PPR, Rico or Zonovan Knight? Arizona coaches comments, question mark. Yeah, look, as of this moment, there's a lot of kind of uncertainty with both of these scenarios because, again, Michael Carter, Chuba Hubbard, there's just so much in flux. As of right now, I'm going to lean towards playing Zonovan Knight. If you feel like the coach's comments lean you in the opposite direction, you can play Rico and roll with it. But Zonovan, as of right now, has a better matchup, has gotten the bulk majority of touches in the last couple weeks. So I'm going to go in that direction. Thank you. Jason Burke sends in a question. Says Jennings, Charbonnet, or Barner, flex, PPR, pick one. Let me see where I have Juwan Jennings comparatively. So between Charbonnet, Barner, and Jennings, I have it currently ranked as, they're all within 5 rankings of one another. Charbonnet 1, Jennings 2, Barner 3. So Sharp is my suggestion there, Jason. Thank you. Jennings could be a really good play today, but again, with Mac Jones, I don't trust it as much. Bully Season 28 sends in a question. Says, made a mistake of leaving my waiver claim for Geno to replace Brissett in my Superflex League. Do I risk dropping Geno and putting in a waiver for Brissett in hopes of no one screwing me over? At that point, I think you should probably just keep Geno, because if you're going to have to drop him in order to pick up Brissett, and then Brissett's gone next week, and then someone picks up Geno, and screws you over, you're cooked for the remainder of the year. So I would just rather play Geno and just hope for the best in this circumstance, or try to drop somebody else in order to accomplish it in the event in which you cannot. Unless you have already 2 other quarterbacks on roster and Geno is just your third, my only question would then be a matter of what do your bye weeks look like, and do you need Geno for a future week of a bye? In the event in which you do, then you keep him on roster. If he's one of your 2 started quarterbacks, you have to keep him as well. Unless you have, let's say you're like Andrew, I have already Jackson Dart and Jaden Daniels. I don't need Geno. I'm just going to pick up Brissett, or let's say I have Flacco and Jaden Daniels. And you're like, Andrew, I have Geno Smith as my number 3. I can drop him for Brissett. At that point, I would probably be like, you know what? We should probably keep Geno because we have bye weeks ahead. If you had like Josh Allen and I don't know, who's another quarterback who's already passed their bye, Matthew Stafford, then I'd be like, yeah, you could just pick up Brissett and roll it. Thank you. Aaron Northcutt, we took care of that question before. Good to go. Luis Martinez sends in a question, says George Kittle or Chase Brown in the flex half PPR. Let me see where I have George Kittle ranked. As of this current moment, I have Kittle ranked higher. That's the direction I'd go in. Thank you. All right, we continue on with the question from the Black Lagoon 2005, who says, hi, Andrew. In a 10-team standard scoring format, do I flex Corey Krosky-Merritt, Jacoby Myers, or Quentin Johnston? Wow, already also starting tight end from the Chargers. Okay, so here's my issue. I don't like Jacory Krosky-Merritt this week, primarily because of his lack of productivity in the last 3 games, and additionally the fact that the Seattle Seahawks are an elite run-stop defense. So if I had to pick between Jacoby Myers and Quentin Johnston, I don't think Jacoby Myers has done anything over the course of the last month to convince me to play him, to which I would play Quentin Johnston there and pair up both Chargers. Thank you. Jerome Hill sends in a question, says, thanks for all that you do. Questions in the chat. Thank you, Hill. Appreciate it. Says, picked up Tracy off of the waivers. Thanks, by the way. Hearing the hype and now your rankings, is Monangai worth it week 9 and versus rest of season? Well, here's the thing. I would keep Tracy for rest of season because Monangai is only going to be a couple weeks here until DeAndre Swift is healthy. So Monangai is just a 1-week omega start because of the matchup implicated against Cincinnati, excuse me. So if you would theoretically have to drop Tracy to pick up Monangai, I wouldn't do that. There's no sensical decision-making there, to which the only reason you would ever pick up Monangai is if you have an alternative option to which you can drop. Let's say you were like, oh, Andrew, I can go drop Samaje Perine or Tyjae Spears or Tyler Algier or Tony Pollard. Great. Go drop them, pick up Monangai, start him over Tracy this week. But otherwise, when we're talking about rest of season, Tracy 10 times out of 10, that's how it has to be. Otherwise, if you have the opportunity and you have both on roster, play Monangai. Thank you. All right, let's continue on with Steve, who sends in a question. Steve, thank you very much. Says, Keenan or Shakir? I feel like the Chargers will just run. I think they will run, but again, as much as you think they'll run the football, they're going to run the ball maybe 25 to 30 times, but a lot of the running is going to be in the second half of that game, ultimately, in my mind. Between the 2 of them, I'm going to go with Shakir anyway, because that's how I have it currently structured. I mentioned it earlier this week. In the last 2 games in which Shakir has taken on the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it's postseason or regular season, in 2024 season, he had 14 receptions in the last 2 games. So that's why I have Khalil Shakir so highly ranked. So I'll go Shakir there, regardless of this claim of the Chargers running. It's not a matter of because of the run. It's because of the utilization of Shakir this week. That is expected. Tamir, what's up, my man? Says half PPR rest of season, Jameson Williams, Travion Henderson, if available. I would rather have Travion Henderson rest of season. Thank you. Again, I've mentioned this before in the past and in previous live streams, and I'll continue to reiterate this. The rest of season strength of schedule at running back claims, as of right now, based on rushing statistics allowed, which is the stats that I share prior to the running back rankings video every single week, the New England Patriots have the easiest strength of schedule from weeks 15 through 17, the fantasy playoffs. So if Travion Henderson can build momentum between now and then, he is the preferred. Bad Sport sends in a question. Pick 2 quarterbacks, Knicks, Flacco, Brissett, Mac Jones. Brissett and Mac Jones are my 2 starters. Thank you. In the event in which you wanted to play Flacco, that's fine, but I would have to play Brissett. Have to play him. Mac Jones number 2, Flacco 3, Knicks 4. H13 Production says must-win game in a full PPR flex, starting JD5, Henry, Chase Brown, Johnston, Debo, Kelsey. Flex Juwan Jennings or Rico Dowdle. It's a really interesting question. Let me see where I have Jennings comparatively. Full PPR. Jennings. As of right now, I have Rico Dowdle 4 spots ahead of Juwan Jennings. I'll take Rico Dowdle there. It says also I have Charbonnet and Downs. Or sorry, I have Charbonnet and Dobbs. Do I play? Technically, I have Dobbs ahead of Rico Dowdle by 1 spot in a full PPR. So if I was going to play anybody, it would be Dobbs in this circumstance. So it would go Dobbs 1, Rico Dowdle 2, Charbonnet 3, Juwan Jennings 4. Yeah, that's cool with me. Flacco over JD5? No, I would play Jaden Daniels. Thank you. Nathan J sends in a question. Hey, Andrew, non-PPR, got to bench 1 between Rico, DJ Moore, JCM, and Xavier. Who's Xavier? Is that Xavier Hutchinson, Xavier Leggett, whoever it is? Xavier, is that Worthy maybe? It's maybe Worthy. If it's Xavier Worthy, I bench JCM. If it's any of the other Xaviers, they get cooked. Thank you. Amir Scott sends in a question. Thank you, Amir. Says G. Pickens, Devontae Adams, or Monangai in the flex. I have Kyle Monangai genuinely ranked the highest of the bunch. He is my suggestion. Thank you. All right, Run Benny. Thomas, who says J. Downs, Kamara, Parker. I think I answered this before. We're going to go with Kamara there. Thank you. Bald God says Trey Henderson or ETN. I'll go Trey Henderson there. Thank you. Aaron Northcutt says Santos. Okay, we already took care of this one. We're going Santos. Cairo. Dragon the Beast sends in a question. Says, would you start Quentin Johnston or Jacoby Myers? I would start Quentin Johnston. Thank you. The Man 0907 sends in a question. Says, in a half PPR scoring format, pick 2 between T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Wando Robinson, or Cortland Sutton. Okay, in a half PPR, let's change my rankings here. Let's go Wandale Robinson. Wando Robinson is my number 1 available option of the group. My number 2 option would be Chase Brown. So those are the 2 that I would suggest. Go Chase Brown and Wando Robinson. It says I have Goff starting with Brissett on the wire. Should I be picking him up? I mean, you don't have to. The thing about Jared Goff is that he could very easily on any given week come away with 1 million touchdowns, and it's very much so capable of accomplishing that. The only concern that I ever have with Jared Goff genuinely is the potential which he comes away with games where all the touchdowns are stolen by the running backs. I mean, again, it's happened already three times this season, in which he's only scored 1 touchdown in those games in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, putting up 10, 11, and 10 fantasy points. I think the matchup in itself provides enough value to what we've seen from Jacoby Brissett, who has functioned as a starter for 2 weeks prior and has been incredibly fantasy relevant in those 2 weeks thus far this season, to lead me to believe that he can once again pull it out with, back-to-back games of 20 and 19 fantasy points. I'm going to go in that direction, taking on the number 1 matchup at the quarterback position this week. Thank you. Shot Too Smooth says, love the channel. Thank you very much. Says, I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Between Higgins, Diggs, we have Addison, Tracy, Pitts. Thank you. And full PPR. Okay. Of your available options, Tracy and Diggs are my 2 starters. Thank you. All right, we have Nick Walker, who says, Nico or Chase Brown in the flex, PPR. I would play Nico Collins. Flacco or Trevor Lawrence? Again, I have some personal hesitation with Flacco. Doesn't mean that you have to, but because of my hesitation, I'm leaning towards Lawrence there. Thank you. iShine says, pick 1 in the flex, full PPR. Jamison Williams, DK, Quentin Johnston, Aaron Jones, or Parker Washington. Chimere DK is my highest ranked. That's the direction I go in. Thank you, iShine. Appreciate it. Robert Jameson says, says half PPR, ETN, Wandale, Alec Pierce, Downs. Play ETN this week against the Raiders. Thank you. If you could pick a second player, then you play Wandale. All right, Franges, 99. Says in a half PPR, start Horton, Brashard Smith, or Slayton. Let me see where I have Slayton in comparison to Brashard. Horton. Okay, so Horton is there. And in comparison to Slayton, he is ahead of him. And in comparison to Brashard Smith, he's ahead of him. So in a half PPR, I would play Torrey Horton there. Thank you. All right, In Your Cheeks sends in a question. It says, Caleb or Flacco? I would play Caleb. Again, if you want to play Flacco, I don't have an issue with this. It says, I have a Dunze must-win matchup. No, I understand. Listen, everybody's matchups are always must-win. We want to win every week. In this circumstance, my only concern is throwing shoulder injury. He gets hit the wrong way. He leaves the game. I'm playing Caleb. Big Rich says, good morning, Andrew. PPR. Quarterbacks get a 4-point per passing touchdown. And a super flex, do I go with J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, or Xavier Worthy? Might be overthinking. Genuinely, I would play J.J. McCarthy probably out of the available. I think Xavier Worthy could be a solid play. He has to score a touchdown in order to be as relevant as your alternative options in this circumstance. J.J. McCarthy has legs. He has the ability to run. And what Xavier Worthy has accomplished over the course of the last month of the season, putting up 11, 10, 7, and 10 fantasy points, I would feel like there's more of a likelihood in which J.J. McCarthy can produce a higher potential share, especially in garbage time. So I'll go with McCarthy and even or Penix in this circumstance, super flex. But for right now, I do have McCarthy one spot ahead of Penix because of the matchup on hand against New England being a little bit tougher than the Detroit Lions matchup. Thank you. Ryan sends in a question, says trade Lamb and Kamara for Jacobs and Marvin Harrison in a half PPR. Yeah, in a half PPR, I'm willing to do so. That works for me. Thank you. RM, laughing, sends in a question. RM, thank you. Says half PPR, Washington or Horton? I will play Parker Washington there. Thank you. Mike Concho says in a full PPR, sit one. Johnston, Montgomery, Henderson. Johnston's on my bench. Montgomery and Henderson play. Thank you. Arthur sends in a question. Says PPR between can play 3 out of 4. Keenan, Travion, Henderson, T. Higgins, Bam Knight. Who sits out? Okay, in the event in which you can play 3 of 4 in a full PPR. Okay, as it currently stands, I have Keenan Allen ahead of him. Okay, so my 3 starters would be Henderson, Allen, and Knight. T. Higgins is on my bench. Thank you. 513 rookie sends in a question. Says standard flex Warren versus London or drop for Manungai. Who are we dropping though? That's my question. If we have to drop Warren or Manungai in order to accomplish this, then no, I'm not doing that. I would just play, at this point, probably Jalen Warren in a standard format. I would love to play Manungai ahead of both of them, but I can't afford to drop either of the two. Unless you play in like a 6-man league, but even then it's not worth it. Will Taylor sends in a question, says, good morning, start 3 in the flex. Sorry, start 3 flex 1. So we're picking 4 of these players. We have London, T-Mac, Javonte, Chase Brown, Henderson, Bam. Started Waddle, looking for a boom. LOL, thanks, brother. Okay, Javonte Williams plays. Travion Henderson plays. Then I would play, if it's a full PPR, London and Tetaroa. Thank you. In the event in which it's... actually, you know what? If it's... Okay, let's say it's a half... Yeah, it is a full PPR. No, in my full PPR rankings, I don't have Tetaroa there. It's actually Javonte 1, Henderson 2, London 3, and then Chase Brown is my number 4 in a full PPR. He's ahead of both Bam Knight and additionally Tetaroa McMillan. Thank you. Pipe Down sends in a question. Says pick 2. Washington, DK, Pollard, Charbonnet. I have Kenneth Walker. Okay, in this current circumstance, let me see where I have Parker Washington in comparison to the alternatives. Yeah, as of right now, I would play DK and I would play Charbonnet. Thank you, Pipe Down. Appreciate it. Jimmy Richardson says full PPR, pick 2 keepers, Jefferson, Rice, Collins. Keepers? What do you mean by keepers? Can I keep them for multiple seasons? If that's the case, it's Jefferson and Rice. Thank you. Gaga sends in a question, says, what's up, bro? DK or Brashard Smith in the flex? I'll play DK regardless of scoring format. Says, also no hidden gems this week? No. Unfortunately, I was not able to produce both tight end and quarterback rankings for the Thursday video, so I had to produce the quarterback rankings on Friday while I did Thursday tight ends. So I got a little bit of a wonky week in this overall circumstance. It says drop quick 5 gems in the chat. No, I wouldn't go as far as to making that big of a prognostication, but I do appreciate it. As of right now, again, I think you can tell just off of just looking at the rankings on screen who could theoretically be assumed to be a gem per se, right? In terms of players that had a very low rostership percentage prior to this week. We're talking about like Manungai, we're talking about Kareem Hunts, who jumped into that kind of hidden gem conversation. Additionally, on top of it, we have Parker Washington. We have Chamir DK for another consecutive game here. I think Jamison Williams is going to get pretty good run this week. AJ Barner. Again, a lot of options out there, but as of this, I mean, Jacoby Brissett. Players that typically wouldn't be ranked as high as they are now in this conversation because of their circumstance, which is pretty much the entire impetus of Hidden Gems. Thank you. All right, OKC BK says pick 2, half PPR, Tracy, David Montgomery, BTJ Myers. I would play Tyrone Tracy and Brian Thomas Jr. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, OKC, and go Rams as well. Yes, thank you. Maya Fuji says, hi, please convenience me. Why to start, convince me, geez Louise, brother Andrew, can you read? Please convince me why to start Henderson over Rico and Jennings. I don't even know which Jennings you're talking about. Says, I'm not feeling too confident about any of them this week. I mean, it's very simple. How do you score more points in fantasy football? Well, in its purest form, the more touches you get, the more potential to score. And in the event in which we're talking about running backs versus wide receivers, objectively speaking, running backs get more touches. And in the event in which you have a running back who's also capable of receiving workload, in the case of a Travion Henderson, they have an even greater advantage. And then if we take it a step further and we look at what surrounds them, are there other potential options within the offense that are going to impose their will and take volume of those touches away from them? In the case of Jennings, yes, because he is a receiver, he not only gets less touches, but he also has less share of touches as a group within the receiving core. As for Henderson versus Rico, because Ramondre is out, and Rico still has Chuba Hubbard in his back pocket, Henderson becomes the auto play on top of the fact that the Falcons have given up over 140 rushing yards in each of the last 2 games, but have also given up over 100 rushing yards in 4 of the last 6 games to opposing running backs. They cannot stop the run. Thank you. Drew King sends in a question. Says, half PPR, need help choosing a wide receiver 2 and an RB2 and a flex. Currently in wide receiver 2, I've got Olave starting. RB2, I've got Chase Brown, and then at flex, I got BTJ. On my bench, I have Sutton, Jalen Warren, McMillan, and Keenan Allen. Excuse me. Of the available options, am I swapping anything? I mean, in a half PPR scoring format, the only potential adjustments that I am making here outright is I would probably play Tedoroa McMillan over Olave. That's what I have on screen. So that's the primary switch which I would make there. But again, I only have Tedoroa McMillan 2 spots ahead of Olave, and they're both tier 7 wide receivers. So if you want to play Olave, I have no issue with that. So I'm not even going to make you change that. That's fine. As for playing Chase Brown as your RB2, that is probably, I would go differently as well. I'd go Jalen Warren there. And then I would leave probably BTJ in that flex. Let me see where I have BTJ in comparison to the alternatives if we were to actually make those swaps. Yeah, so if it was my team, I would just roll with McMillan, Jalen Warren, and BTJ. It would completely swap up your situation, but I'm okay keeping it as is because what you currently have rostered and currently in the lineup could play just as well. Thank you, Drew. Teddy H sends in a question. Thank you, Teddy. Where did Teddy's question go? Okay, here we go. Teddy H says, I need one in a full PPR. Tracy, Worthy, DJ Moore, Wando Robinson, Olave. I believe in a full PPR, I have Wando Robinson ranked highest. Let me confirm this. That is correct. I have Wando Robinson 3 spots ahead of Tyrone Tracy. I would play Wando Robinson out of your available options there, Teddy. Thank you. Media Hernandez says, start Ferguson over Sutton or Shakir. I would play him over both. Thank you. Pedro's Lucario sends in a question. Says, standard. I need a running back. ETN, Chase Henderson. I'd play Henderson. Number 1, ETN. Oh, actually, it's a standard format. Jeez. Okay. I'd play ETN. In a standard format where you get 0 points per reception, I'll take ETN, then Henderson, then Chase. That's the order. Thank you. PC sends in a question. Says, play a Dunze or Jalen Warren over Manungai. Sorry, it says, go Warren over Manungai. No, I'm not going Warren over Manungai. Give me Manungai there. It says, play 2 Bears. Yes, play 2 Bears. Correct. Thank you. It says, question from Jose Dones, who says, scared to start Keenan. Everybody, including Trey Hendricks, outsnapped him last week. Yeah, but you have to remember, last week, the reason why they outsnapped him is because they were blowing out the opposing team, and Trey Harris was getting utilization with the second-team offense. There's a reason why the backup running back of the Los Angeles Chargers last week, Jarrett Patterson, had 10 rushing attempts. And there's a reason why Trey Harris outsnapped him, and that's primarily because of the garbage time in the fourth quarter. So don't look at the numbers because they're incredibly skewed in the wrong direction. Do not be afraid to play Keenan Allen this week in a full PPR against a secondary that is completely battered and can't stop a nosebleed. Says, I need to choose 2 between Kincaid, Keenan Allen, K9, and Olave. In your circumstance here, Jose, I would play Keenan Allen and Olave. Very much so, confidently. Thank you. All right. We had a question here from, says, Kamara or Woody Marks, half PPR? Ermias, I'm going to play Woody Marks there. Very simply. Kamara has a tougher matchup, and on top of it, gets less touches per week. Thank you. Sean Bonds sends in a question. Sean, thank you very much, sir. Says, rank these 3 wide receivers for rest of season. DK, Tez, Trey Tucker, and start DK or Tucker. Okay. Ranking them for rest of season, it would go DK 1, Trey Tucker 2, Tez 3. I'm playing DK this week. Thank you. And Low says, in a full PPR, 1 point per first down format, Dowdle or Worthy? I have to check how many times Dowdle gets first downs. 1 second. I can cross-reference it with one of my sites here that I have as a resource, and I'll let you know. Okay, in terms of rushing this season, in terms of first downs, obviously when he was getting more run, he was getting a little bit more potential for upside there. Let me see what Worthy's working with. If I look at Xavier Worthy here in terms of receiving workload, first down potential, he gets about 2 per game. I'm going to play, out of the 2 of them, it's not like a convincing point to where I'm like feeling omega confident regarding Rico this week. Because again, there's still a little bit of a sketchiness revolving around him. So for right now, unless Rico was to make a bunch of noise in terms of running the ball and get like 5-6 first downs, which is possible, I have Worthy ahead of him in a full PPR. So assuming Worthy gets 2 first downs and Dowdle gets 5, then at that point I would want Dowdle. So in the event in which you do foresee him getting far more rushing attempts and them running the ball heavily, even with their center out this week against Green Bay, sure, you can go Dowdle. Otherwise, I'm just going to roll with Worthy and hope for touchdown upside. Thank you. Mo sends in a question. Thank you, Mo. Says, I need 3 between Gibbs, Williams, Vidal, and Monangai. Yeah, this is a really tough question. Says, according to your chart, I'd sit Williams, but he's been solid. Also, Sutton or Allen, I'd play Keenan Allen there. Says, also trade Kamara and Monangai for Daniel Jones. I have Lamar as my quarterback 1. I don't understand why you would make that trade. Unless you're playing in a super flex, so I need more context there. In my current iteration of these rankings, yes, I have Gibbs, Monangai, and Vidal as my top 3, and that's what I'm going to suggest. If you want to play Javonte, that's got to be on your own volition. Thank you. National Champ Rush says flex, half PPR. Terrell Jennings, Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington. I'd play Parker Washington there. Thank you. Little Drama Myth says, happy Sunday to all. Baker and Brock Purdy out this week. In a 12-team Superflex format, Pat in quarterback 1 slot. In a Superflex, do I go Marv Harrison, T. Higgins, DJ Less instead of DJ Moore? Got it. LOL. That's funny. Or Bam Knight. I would go with Marvin Harrison in a full PPR. Thank you. Raymond T sends in a question. Says, good morning, Andrew. Would you drop Kyron Williams for Chase Brown and Olave? Would you trade, Kyron Williams? Okay. My other running backs are Bijan, Woody, Benson, my other. Yeah, I don't mind the trade. That works for me. It gives you depth that's required, especially with Benson kind of still in limbo. If you need the depth and you can play potentially 3 wide receivers or 2 flex in this league, I'd be willing to make that move. That sounds good to me. Thank you, Raymond. Joe R says, fix my lineup, ? Allen Monangai, Terrell Jennings, JSN Pittman, Tyler Warren, Flowers, Dart. Rams defense. My bench consisting of Montgomery, Bam, Stroud, or drop TJ for Horton. Okay, we have a pretty good option here. It says also have Bucky, Mondre, Rashad White, Buka. Okay. You've got a really good team on the bench, just obviously, unfortunately, out in this circumstance, Joe. So in terms of changing up your roster here, there's no reason I would ever play Terrell Jennings. Like, genuinely no reason at all. To which I'm going to legitimately just going to play Bam Knight there over him. In the event in which he out-snaps and out-carries Henderson, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So it's just such a long shot in my mind. But again, from the way that this organization has treated Henderson thus far, wouldn't surprise me per se. That being said, I'm playing Allen Monangai, Bam Knight, JSN Pittman, Tyler Warren. Flowers already played Dart. Yeah, that's the only change I make. I play Bam. I'd even play Montgomery over him if I could. Thank you. Kenneth Williams says, good morning. Flex Adunze or Henderson? I'd play Henderson. Thank you. Ray Barrera says, full PPR flex to Tetarola McMillan, Marvin Harrison, Gadsden, Henderson, and Hunt. Of the available options in a, is it a full? Yeah, full PPR. Henderson is there. He's the auto start. Then we have Marvin Harrison. I have Gadsden one set ahead. Okay, yeah. So my 2 highest ranked players are Gadsden and Henderson today. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Robert Jameson says Wando Robinson, ETN, Pierce, or Keenan Allen in the flex. Half PPR. In a half PPR, I have ETN ranked the highest. That's my number one flex option there. If you had another opportunity to play another player, it would be Wando after. Jeff says, thank you for what you do. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Says, I hope you're right this week. 3 top 15 wide receivers for my 12-team full PPR league. 3 top 15. Who do you have? I mean, brother, if you have 3 of these top 15 guys, I mean, more often than not, we've been right just starting them weekly. Like if you have a combo of like, oh, Andrew, I've got Jamar Chase, I've got Ladd, and I've got Pickens, like, brother, I mean, what are we doing? You're going to keep winning. You'll be fine there, Jeff. Thank you. Jorge Perez, what's up, my man? Says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, should I start DK over Leggett? Absolutely, 1,000%, brother. Says, Ertz over Kincaid, 1,000% as well. Again, guys, Zach Ertz, I mentioned this on Thursday's tight end rankings video. This season, he has scored in the last, 5 games with a healthy Jaden Daniels. He has scored 4 receiving touchdowns. And then last season, in the final 9 games of the year, the final 6 regular season games and the final 3 playoff games, he had scored 6 touchdowns in those 9 games. So he has scored effectively 10 touchdowns in the last 14 games with Jaden Daniels. So Ertz is for sure a play. Says, I have Kamara in my flex. Should I be worried about the matchups and change QB change? I would be worried about it, yes. But as of right now, if that's your best option, that's what you go with, considering I wouldn't play Kincaid or Leggett over him. DK's the play, Ertz is the play. Thank you, Jorge. I appreciate it. All right, Bodie Derby. What's up, Bodie? PPR pick 1. Alec Pierce, Barner, Torrey Horton, Keon Coleman. I believe in a full PPR, Pierce is my highest ranked. Yeah, so as of right now, actually, let me see where I have AJ Barner. No, AJ Barner is going to be my highest ranked, probably because I have a little bit more touchdown incentive there. So of the available options you have, I would go Barner 1, Pierce 2, Keon Coleman 3, Horton 4. Thank you. King Fred says, good morning, happy football Sunday. Thank you very much. Salute to you as well, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, let's hear. Crazy sends in a question. Says, half PPR start to Tedero McMillan, Tyler Warren, Gadsden. I'd play both tight ends. Genuinely, these are your 2 best plays. All right, let's hear. Gurveer Singh sends in a question. Flacco or Mac Jones? Again, as of right now, with Flacco dealing with a right shoulder injury, again, it's a throwing shoulder injury. My concern is that if he gets hit the wrong way, he leaves the game and he doesn't return. So with the potential risk that is implicated, I would just rather play Mac Jones in this current iteration. Thank you. Mac sends in a question. Speaking of Mac Jones, we have Mac, who says, Torrey Horton, Slayton, or Alvin Kamara? It depends on format. I think I probably have Kamara ranked highest because of the volume of potential touches that he'll be exposed to comparatively to the other 2. So Alvin Kamara would be my highest ranked. As for Jackson Dart or JD5, again, they are very closely ranked, but I do have Jaden Daniels ranked higher. Thank you. Continuing on, we have MVM. Mevale says, pick 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. Knight, Rico, Vidal, Hunt, Harvey, Ladd, Marvin Harrison, Tedero, McMillan, Kittle, Bowers, and Gadsden. Okay, so for right now, I'm playing Vidal and Hunt as my RB1 and 2. I'm playing Ladd and Marvin Harrison as my wide receiver 1 and 2, and I'm playing Kittle and Bowers. Excuse me. I'm playing Kittle and Bowers as my tight end and flex. Thank you. Okay, cool. So play Vidal and play Monangai. Thank you. Okay, post X Simon. Or Simone, excuse me. Says full PPR, Dowdle, Gadsden, Charbonnet, Worthy. Gadsden's my highest ranked. Thank you. Riff says, in a half PPR flex, Horton or Spears? I'd rather play Spears. Thank you. Gus the Bus says, full PPR, Hunt or Gadsden? Ooh, I have Gadsden ahead of him in a full PPR. If it was a half PPR, it would be the other way around. But in a full, I'll take Gadsden. Pee-wee sends in a question. Says, flex. Laporta, Jalen Warren, Bam, or Dowdle? I would play Jalen Warren there in a full PPR. Thank you. Mookie's Life says, speaking of Mookie, how about them Dodgers, huh? World champ, baby. Let's go. Okay, anyway. 10-team PPR. I have Bowers at tight end. Which to flex? Tyler Warren or Marvin Harrison? I have Tyler Warren ranked higher. Thank you. Science on the right says, hi, Andrew. I have number 1, Bo Nix at Houston or Flacco hosting Chicago. I'd rather play Flacco there, genuinely. PPR, I need 1 wide receiver and flex from Chase Brown, Dobbs, Dobbins, Quentin Johnston, Tracy Jr., and Bam. Okay, of your available options, if I need 1 wide receiver in this circumstance, I'm playing Romeo Dobbs. And if I need 1 running back, I'm playing Tyrone Tracy Jr. Thank you. Or if I need 1 flex, it would be Tyrone Tracy. Carlos Laurie sends in a question. Carlos, thank you. Says, full PPR, can I trust Sutton over Addison or Worthy? I mean, look, here's the thing. Last week, in a very easy matchup, he floundered, and it's rough to see that. Now that he has to go up against a difficult matchup, it does make me a little bit hesitant. Can I trust him? I don't know if you could objectively trust him. But the question remains, like, can we trust Worthy to score more than 10 points? And can we trust J.J. McCarthy? To which, with all the questions that revolve around these players, I just default to Sutton in terms of his projection points. Drake Holloway sends in a question, says, flex options, Keenan Allen, Sutton, Bowers, full PPR. I play Bowers. Thank you. Draxley says, full PPR, pick 2, Pickens, Pittman, Monungai. I would play Pittman and I would play Monungai. Thank you. Xavier says, not that I would ever question you. You can question me all you want, brother. I'm not going to be correct 100% of the time. I have no problem with that. Says, you have Marks over Monty reasoning. Yeah, it's just purely a matter of the consistency of touches that Montgomery has been given. It's just not enough to sufficiently be able to, supply him with enough fantasy value to make him worth the play. Like if Montgomery falls into the end zone, sure, we're in a perfect position to succeed. But comparatively, when we look at the overall utilization of Woody Marks, having gotten himself 21, 13, and 15 touches in the 3 of the last 5 games here, the only game in which he wasn't given a high volume of touches was against Baltimore because they blew them out, and the 3rd and 4th string running backs were getting touches. He's been getting enough volume to where, in itself, he has enough baseline floor of production via yardage receptions, to which, unless Montgomery scores a touchdown, we're going to get screwed out here. While, of course, Woody Marks in the last 4 games has scored 3 touchdowns, which, again, I think keeps him as the more valuable prospect of the 2. And on top of it, when I look at Montgomery, like the fact that he has to compete against Gibbs in comparison to Marks that has to compete against, Chubb, it's an easier life for Woody Marks there. Beef Strogie sends in a question. Thank you, Beef. Says, Gadsden or Bam? I have Gadsden ranked higher. Says, second question, Shakir, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, or JMO? If it's a full PPR, I play Shakir there. Thank you. Logert sends in a question, says, hey, man, help me with my parlay. Pick anytime touchdowns, 5 players. Thanks for your help, Boyo. You're the bee's knees. You're the cat's meow. Take care, friend. Thank you. Okay. If we're looking for anytime touchdown players going into this week, I think it's relatively simple because there are a bunch of studs that just keep scoring. Number 1, Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. Number 2, Josh Jacobs, anytime touchdown. So those are the ones that I'm like very set on, good to go. Because again, Jacobs has done it in 15 of the last 16 games, and Taylor scores more than 1 every single week. So then if we're looking for alternative options comparatively to them, I look at running back and I think to myself, who can I trust blindly? The way that I have it projected, I have Gibbs scoring a touchdown. I have Monungai scoring a touchdown. And then I probably, at that point, I go Javonte next. So I go Taylor, Gibbs, Jacobs, Monungai, Javonte. Anytime touchdowns for all of them. Now, if we were going to go to a different position, I genuinely like my top 7 tight ends. McBride, Kraft, Warren, Bowers, Ferguson, Kittle as touchdown guys. Now, can they all score this week? Probably not. But I like McBride and Kraft and Warren to score tutties this week. If you wanted to put together another separate one. Thank you. If you were to theoretically put those together on Betr right now, let's see here. If we were to take McBride, let's see. I need to change it to NFL because NBA is just popping up. I didn't know there were so many McBrides in the NBA. So if we took McBride at an anytime touchdown, and we took Kraft alongside of him. And then we took Warren alongside of him. Those 3 anytime touchdowns today would be a 7x. Pretty solid in my mind. Thank you. Continuing on. All right, we had Najee. Or I said Najee. That's a crazy misrepresentation of the name. Nijaz Most says, hello, I need one in a full PPR. Myers, Golden, Horton, Loveland. Play Horton. Thank you. Gravity sends in a question, says Flacco, Brissett, or Goff. Give me Brissett. Thank you. Bale Kim says, hi, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Bell. Thank you. Says PPR, pick one. T. Higgins or Tracy? I'll take T. Higgins there. I'll take Tracy. My God, my brain is falling apart. That's what happens when you don't sleep much. Let me see these new updates here. What do we have here? Where are we at here? So 19 minutes ago, Dalton Schultz active, Joe Flacco active, Christian Darrisaw active, Brock Purdy inactive. Okay. Rico Dowdle will quote-unquote officially start in week 9. Yeah, we hope so. Thank you. All right, continuing on. Yeah, I'll take Tracy there, Bale. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. And there goes my YouTube to crash. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and reload the YouTube. Again, we're about an hour and 50 minutes into the live stream. We've still got another hour and 10 to answer questions. Trying my best to catch up to the best of my ability while I try to re-update my YouTube chat. I hope you guys can stay patient with me there. But additionally, again, a reminder, the rankings that are on screen are up to date as of this moment. And do not forget that the rankings that are on screen are for a half PPR scoring format. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's go to the section here. Oh, I think that just broke outright. So if I just like max screen it, I think we'll be fine. Cool. We're fine there. Okay. Scrolling back up here. Let's see if I can catch up. I'm going to try to go through these quickly. Bale, thank you again. FRS says Dowdle or Tedderroll McMillan PPR. I believe I have Tedderroll McMillan ranked higher. Let me just check real quick. I have Tedderroll McMillan currently in a full PPR ranked higher. Thank you. Big Al 9 says Montgomery, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, BTJ standard league. I play BTJ or Charbonnet in a standard format, 0 points per reception. I'm playing Charbonnet. Thank you. Troy Anderson says need a wide receiver for rest of season, half PPR. Drop Pacheco, Cup, Pearsall, or Harvey. I would drop Cup. Says I have Etienne, Henry, Monangai, Hunt, or Hampton. Do I pick up DK, Pierce, or Watson? I would drop Cup and pick up DK. Thank you. Mitchell Reddick says PPR Kelsey or Kamara in the flex. I have Kelsey ranked higher. Thank you. Gabe sends in a question. Says in a half PPR, super flex, Bam Knight or Tyler Shuck. Thanks always. I would play Bam Knight there. I don't know if I can trust Tyler Shuck against the Rams defense. Adrian Sanchez sends in a question. Says I have to sit 2 of these potential wide receivers. Adunze Diggs, Nico, Sutton, Pittman. Who would you recommend? Thanks, boss. If I'm sitting 2, I'm going to sit Sutton and Diggs. I am playing Pittman, Nico, and Adunze in my lineup. Sutton and Diggs are my sits. Thank you. Jennifer sends in a question. Says BTJ or London in a full PPR. In a full PPR scoring format, I currently have Drake London ranked a couple spots ahead of him. So I'll go Drake London there as my start. Thank you. Neil Patel says Diggs or Sutton in the flex. I'll play Diggs. I need floor. I know Diggs has been ranked higher, but Sutton seems safer for some reason. I don't know if I objectively agree to that. I think it depends on the format at which you play in. I think maybe if you're playing in a half or standard league, theoretically, we could say that the safety belongs to Sutton. But just looking at the production of Stephon Diggs as of the course of the last 4 weeks, he has scored 10 plus points in 4 of the last 5 games and has a significantly easier matchup in comparison to Sutton, who, yes, additionally has also scored 10 plus fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 games. He's been the more consistent player of the two, but the matchup itself is a little bit lacks trustworthiness in my mind. So if it's me, I roll with Diggs there. If you want to play Sutton, I don't have an issue with it, primarily because they are so closely ranked within my overall lineup. Thank you. Lamosity sends in a question, says check the chat. Says I have Genty, Etienne, and Tracy available at running back, and Wandell, Myers, and Tedderroll McMillan available for my flex. Who do I start in the flex? I have JJ and JSN as my other wide receivers. Says, do I run Tracy, T-Mac, or Wandell Robinson in the flex? Of those 3 available, Wandell Robinson is my highest ranked. Assuming it's a full PPR. If it's a half PPR, I'll just roll with Tracy there. Thank you. All right, continuing on. We had a question that came in from iShine101 says, pick 2 in a 12-man full PPR. Woody Marks, Trey Tucker, Troy Franklin, Quentin Johnston, Jameson Williams. If I'm picking 2 of the available options, I'm going to play Woody Marks and Jameson Williams. Thank you. Go Dodgers. Yamamoto's the go. Yeah, I agree. He's a monster. I mean, Rojas, Muncy, Will Smith coming out and just clutching it up at the end ridiculously. Okay, I think we answered this question already, Science. We answered it as Flacco playing and then playing Tracy as your flex and Dobbs as your wide receiver. Thank you. Omega says Jalen Warren or Deebo Samuel. I'll take Deebo there in a full PPR. Thank you. DK7394 says half PPR start quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. I'll take Jaden Daniels there at quarterback. 2 wide receivers. Of your available options, I will play Marvin Harrison and I will play T. Higgins. And then within your flex, I'm going to play Travis Etienne. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty, we have Christopher McConnell who says half PPR, Charbonnet, Shakir, Gadsden. Let me see where I have Gadsden. I believe I have him as the highest ranked. Yeah, Gadsden is my highest ranked in a half PPR. Therefore, that is what I would suggest you play this week. Thank you. We move on to Elbenyas, who says half PPR, pick 2 as 8-point underdog. We have Bourne at Trey Tucker and Horton. I would play Trey Tucker and Horton. Thank you. Matt sends in a question, says full PPR, start Sutton or Zonovan Knight. I'll play Zonovan Knight. Thank you. Leo Bologna says, trade Rico for any of these wide receivers. Marv, Addison, Diggs, Terry, Pickens. Yeah, I would trade Rico Dowdle to try to get back George Pickens if I could choose. Thank you. Amy sends in a question, says full PPR flex, Hunt, Tracy, Gadsden. Between the 3, I believe, let me check where I have Tracy. I think Tracy's my highest. Tyrone Tracy in a full PPR comparatively. I have Tyrone Tracy genuinely 1 spot ahead of Gadsden in my full PPR rankings. My number 38 compared to my number 39 flex players. And Hunt would be number 42. They're all very closely ranked, but Tracy's my number 1 of the bunch. Thank you. Luis Martinez says, in a half PPR, I was able to pick up Manungai off of the waivers wire somehow. RB1 is Christian McCaffrey. RB2 is Manungai. In the flex, do I play Kittle or Tracy Jr.? In a half PPR, let me check. Hold up. Kittle or Tracy Jr.? I have Kittle ranked higher. Thank you. Joey sends in a question. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and scroll down here. Joey says, Parker, Washington, Kincaid, or Barner? Pick 2. Let me see where I have Kincaid comparatively. In a full PPR, I have to change the format here. Between the available, Parker, Washington, and Barner are my 2 highest ranked. Kincaid will be my sit. Thank you. All right, continuing on. Let's see where we're at here in terms of these questions, shall we? We had a question that came in from Jesse Martinez. Jesse, thank you very much. Says Quentin Johnston or Josh Downs full PPR? That becomes a little bit of a trickier game here. I kind of want to play Quentin Johnston, but I could justify playing Josh Downs. The only issue that I have with Josh Downs is the lack of volume. I mean, I say that talking out of my ass, like as if Quentin Johnston's getting volume. I would play Quentin Johnston, genuinely. Thank you. And Rico, Camaro, or Hunt, I'd play Kareem Hunt. Thank you. Omega says flex Ferguson, Booty, Downs, Walker. I'd play Ferguson there in a full PPR. Thank you. Anvesh sends in a question. Thank you, Anvesh. Okay, we have a lot of questions here. Anvesh says pick 2, Sutton, Keenan Allen, Addison. Not much faith in JJ as quarterback. I've got Love as my quarterback, but I'm thinking of it. It's going to be a one-sided game. Be more rushing and passing. Darnold's also available. No, I'd play Love. I'm good with that. As for your wide receiver play, if I'm picking 2, I currently do believe that I have Sutton and Addison ranked higher. But if you want to play Sutton and I have Keenan Allen and Addison ranked higher. But if you have no faith in JJ, just roll with Keenan Allen and Sutton there. Thank you. Drew O sends in a question. Says half PPR. Sorry about that. Okay, half PPR. Where are we at here? We have Olave, Bam Knight, Spears, Marks, Shakir, and Higgins. Okay, so of these available options here in a half PPR, if I'm picking one player for my flex, it probably just ends up being Bam Knight, I believe, in a half PPR. Let me check. Yeah, Bam Knight is my highest of the available. The next highest ranked player would technically be Woody Marks if you wanted to pivot. Thank you. Super Dave says, hi, full PPR. I need a wide receiver in a flex. We have Bill, Hubbard, McNichols, Harvey, Watson, Noel. Okay, I don't like any of these players, but if I had to choose two of them, I would probably position myself to play Christian Watson and Chuba Hubbard there. Also, 6 point per passing touchdown, Daniels or Dart. I would play Daniels. Thank you. Pee-wee sends in a question. Says, I just dropped Bam for Henderson regarding my question. Let's see here. Says, start one in the flex. Laporta there now. Jalen Warren, Bam Knight, Dowdle. Says, Laporta, Jalen Warren, Dan. Okay. Okay, so in the event in which you have Henderson now, I would play Henderson within my flex position. That's the way I would go about it. Thank you. Man, my foot is itching. I don't know why. Okay, continuing on. Robert sends in a question. Says standard format. Start three. Ladd, Trey McBride, Keenan Allen, Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson. I would play Ladd McConkey, Trey McBride, and I would play Tyler Warren. Thank you. Possum sends in a question. Says full PPR. Pick two between JMO, Quentin Johnston, Alec Pierce. JMO and Quentin Johnston. Thank you. Jay says, good morning, brother. Half PPR. Diggs or Dowdle? I would play, I believe I have, let me see, half PPR Dowdle. Oop, that's not the right page. I gotta go over here. Dowdle. Okay, so as of right now in a half PPR, I'm cool going Dowdle there. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Michael says in a full PPR, Tedero, McMillan, Kareem Hunt, or Xavier Worthy. In a full PPR, between Kareem Hunt and the rest, I would play Kareem Hunt. Thank you. JV sends in a question. Says thoughts on coaching. Coach is saying Murray will have a role. Murray will have a role. Are we talking about Jacoby Brissett? I don't understand why Kyler would play. Doesn't make sense. Have they not already designated Jacoby Brissett the starter? Like, I don't understand. I'm so confused right now. Let me look this up real quick. Let me see what you're talking about in specific. Okay, so it says the Arizona Cardinals will start Monday, though Kyler Murray will have a role. What the fuck does that mean? That makes me like, what? Why is that even a what? I am super confused. It's going to be Brissett. They're not going to put him out there. All right, Beaver sends in a question. Says, hey, Andrew, would you flex Bam, Johnston, Mooney, or Pollard? I'd flex Bam. Thank you. Okay, Biggie sends in a question. Says, Bam or Debo? I play Debo. Your boy Gator says, flex Marks, Montgomery, Chubb, Parker, or Horton? Marks. Thank you. Jay says, full PPR, Quentin Johnston, Parker, Washington, or Mason? I play Parker, Washington in a full PPR. Thank you. Joe says, in a full PPR, flex Kraft or Travion Henderson, Brock Bowers at tight end. I would play Kraft at tight end, and I would flex Travion Henderson. Thank you. Alrighty, continuing on, we had a question that came in from Ethan, who says, PPR, pick two, Ferguson, Genty, Pickens at the flex. I'm going to play Genty. Thank you. Oh, if I had to pick two of them, though, it would probably, in a full PPR, end up being Pickens and Genty there. Thank you. Justin McMillan says, Sutton or Charbonnet in the flex full PPR. Let me check where I have Sutton. I have Sutton ahead of Charbonnet, so I would play Sutton there. Thank you. Dayman256 says, or 526 says, half PPR, Downs, Watson, or Myers. I would play Josh Downs. Thank you. Rudy sends in a question. Says, Etienne, Gadsden, Sutton, or Henderson. I would play Henderson, and I would play Etienne. Thank you. MTD says, full PPR, Tracy, Olave, or Kittle. Between the three, I would play Kittle. Thank you. Moose Mountain Woodworking sends in a question. Says Kittle or Chase Brown? I play Kittle there. Says why JMO over Quentin Johnson, a wide receiver? Primarily just because of the words of the offensive coordinator saying that he needs to get him more involved. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort to get more looks in the direction of Jameson Williams. Excuse me. Donahue Brown sends in a question. Says flex start 1 BTJ, Travion Henderson, Keenan Allen. I'll take Henderson. Thank you. Chris Moraga sends in a question. Says half PPR, Kamara or Mason? I would rather play Kamara there as your RB2. Should I make any changes for the rest of my lineup? I have Allen, JSN, Amon-Ra, Nico, Gibbs, Kamara, Ferguson, Diggs, Olave. No, I wouldn't make any changes. I'd keep it as is. You're good to go there, brother. Thank you. Actually, in a full PPR, am I going to play Laporta over Olave? That's my only question here. No, I wouldn't. I have Laporta ranked below him. So, you're good to go, Chris. Thank you. Shakespeare says, good morning. Tedero, McMillan, or Henderson? I play Hendo there. Thank you. Alrighty, we continue on with Mark, who says pick flex, ETN, DJ Moore, Gadsden, or Jacoby Myers. I'll play ETN in a half PPR there, Mark. Thank you. Nate says Flacco or Daniels. Play Jaden Daniels. Thank you. Shane Tetzlaff sends in a question. Says, what do we have? Kenneth Walker, Jacoby Myers, Rico Dowdle, Troy Franklin. Pick 2. Give me both running backs. I'll take Dowdle and Walker there this week. Thank you. Augustine sends in a question. Says full PPR, pick 2, Montgomery, Chamir, Kamara, Hunt. Hunt is number 1. And let me see where I have Kamara comparatively to Chamir. Hunt is number 1 and Montgomery is number 2. Yep, that's where I have it ranked. Thank you. Alexander sends in a question. Says, Downs, Franklin, Trey Tucker, Chamir. I have Chamir ranked the highest of the group. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Chamir's number 1. Troy Franklin 2. Downs 3. Tucker 4. C. Crip sends in a question. Or Crip sends in a question. Says, I need a running back and a flex in a full PPR. We have Keenan Allen, Nico Collins, Henderson, Monangai. Yeah, if we need a running back and a flex, I'm playing both Henderson and Monangai this week. Thank you. All right, Iceberg wants a bag. Says, pick 2, Olave, Tracy, Debo, Chase Brown, Rico, PPR. Tracy and Debo are my top 2 options there, full PPR. Thank you. Says, sorry, Drew, missed my question. Missed the answer for my first question. Got it. Okay, so your question was, Peace, Drew, PPR, I need a flex between Golden, Jawan, or Downs. Wow, how did I miss your first question? Golden, Jawan, Downs. Jawan Jennings is my highest ranked. What the heck? Okay, now that I missed your first question, I'm beginning to think I may have missed other people's questions. Hold up, let me go back up. Jocelyn, I don't even know if we got to your question. You skipped me. I did. You accidentally skipped me, bro. Pick 2, wide receivers, and a flex. Tedero, McMillan, Marvin Harrison, Wanda Robinson, Diggs, Bowers, Henderson, Charbonnet. Apologies for that, Jocelyn. Wow, that's my bad. Okay, wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Tedero, Marvin Harrison, Wanda Robinson, Diggs, Bowers, Henderson. Okay, so Henderson's going to be my flex. And then in regards to your wide receivers, I'm playing Marvin Harrison and Wanda Robinson. Thank you. Okay, so I answered Logger's question. Then we missed this. We missed this. Did we answer this? Did we answer any of these? Holy. Okay, hold up. I think I missed a lot of these. So iShine says I added Kamara too. Okay, hold up. So Jameson Williams, DK, Aaron Jones. Okay, says I've added Kamara too. On my last Supa, I forgot. It says pick 2, 12-man, full PPR, Woody Marks, Trey Tucker. Okay, so we answered this one, right? We're going to play Woody Marks here. And then we're also going to play Jameson Williams. In regards to this previous question, of the available options that you have here, if I'm picking one, out of these available, I probably just stick with rolling with Chamir DK here in this circumstance. Thank you. Okay, and then Jerome Hill had said, is Godwin and McLaurin a wash? I would say until further notice, yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, I'm not dropping them per se, but they're definitely not looking too good. Okay. I appreciate you catching me up on that. I apologize for missing those questions, guys. But I'm glad that we were able to get to them. Alrighty, so after Icebergs, we took care of you. We go to Keith, who says the following. Keith says, full PPR flex spot, Nico Collins, Kittle, or London. Let me see where I have them ranked in comparison to one another. As of right now, between those 3 options, my highest ranked is currently Nico Collins. Thank you. David Don says Sutton, Pittman, Nico, Adams, pick 3 in a full PPR. I'm going to sit Sutton. Everybody else plays. Thank you. Kay sends in a question. Full PPR, Marvin Harrison, Jalen Warren, Debo Samuel, Josh Allen. Oh, no, that's Keenan Allen. I need a safest pick 50-50 matchup. I think genuinely, safest pick is usually, I would say, running back. So if you want safest, it's Jalen Warren. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you to play Debo Samuel here. Thank you. Jocelyn, again, apologies for missing that question before. That's my bad. Joe sends in a question. Joe Polanski says, in a full PPR, Kraft or Travion Henderson, Brock's at tight end. Yeah, again, I'll take Travion Henderson as my flex, but I would play Kraft over Brock. But again, you got a bunch of good players here. Tony Brown says, pick 3, Woody, Myers, J-Mo, Tucker, Allen, or Bill. Woody has to play, J-Mo has to play, Keenan Allen has to play. Thank you. Jacob Harris says, full PPR flex, Shamir, DK, or JCM. I'll take Shamir, DK there. Dak or Herbert, 6 point per passing touchdown. Dak, thank you. Carnage sends in a question. Says, in a full PPR, Rico, Horton, Jacoby, DK as a flex. Rico, Horton, Jacoby, DK. If I'm just picking one of the available, my highest ranked is technically Rico Dowdle as my number 1. Number 2 would be DK. Thank you. Siobhan Walker says, with Cup out, do we start Horton over DK or Dobbs? No. I have DJ Moore at 1, or do we just stick with Tucker and Dobbs? I'm confused as to why you mentioned Tucker and then DK here. So in this case, if DK and Dobbs are available, great. I play both of them over Horton. I would also play Tucker and Dobbs over Horton. Thank you. Jesse Martinez says, I know you picked Quentin Johnston over Downs, but Horton is still on the waivers. Should I go and route that route instead? You could. I don't love it. Again, I mentioned it earlier. The overall opportunity share in terms of targets for Cooper Kupp and the receiving core has not been plentiful enough to make me believe that Horton is going to be an automatic pickup and play. Unless Horton is going to get majority of the slot receiving utilization today, I would venture just to keep it as such with Quentin Johnston there. Thank you. Triple Hunts sends in a question. Says, flex Bam or Nico, non-PPR. Thank you. I think I probably still end up playing Nico Collins there. Thank you. Carlos sends in a question. Says, 6 point per passing touchdown, Flacco or Jacoby Myers? Sorry, not Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Brissett, excuse me. I would play Jacoby there, but that's primarily because I expect the health and the availability there. Let me look at these overall updates here. Okay, good to go there. Okay, continuing on. We had a question after Carlo. Yeah, Carlo, Flacco or Brissett? As of this moment, I'm playing Jacoby Brissett on Monday against the Cowboys. Thank you. Siobhan Walker says, my starting lineup is now Moore, Dobbs, Horton. My options are DK, Kincaid, Tucker, and Franklin. Would you replace my starters full PPR? Moore, Dobbs, Horton. Yeah, I would play Shamir DK over Horton. That's the way I'd go about it, Siobhan. Thank you. All right, continuing on. We had Lone Lion, 02, who sent in a question. It says Kamara. What does it say? It says Kamara, JCM, Kamara in the flex. T or Addison. Who's the third option? Because you mentioned Kamara twice. If it's either Kamara or JCM, I'd rather play Kamara. As for T. Higgins or Addison, gosh, I'm tired. In regards to T. Higgins and Addison in a full PPR format, I have T. Higgins ranked higher. Thank you. The man 0907 says, extra roster spot, pick up the Browns defense for next week or Isaiah Davis. I would pick up Isaiah Davis. Thank you. Says Michael Sue Smith says, who are 3 players you think have a good chance to drop 30 bombs this week? Jonathan Taylor. If you're talking full PPR, JSN. I think that's it for now. I don't think there should be any more. Unless you're talking about quarterbacks. Frenzy40K sends in a question. Says, 6 point per touchdown, Dart or JD5? I'd rather play JD Davis. I am just a yawning machine now. My goodness. Dobbins or Myers? I'd rather play Dobbins. Chris B, the RD, says Troy Franklin versus Houston or Alec Pierce versus Pittsburgh. I would just roll with probably Troy Franklin there. Unless Pierce scores the touchdown, I don't think he's going to be as valuable. Anthony O sends in a question, says Jaden Daniels or Daniel Jones? I'd rather play Jaden Daniels. Keenan Allen or Wanda Robinson? I'd rather play Wanda Robinson. Thank you. Mo K sends in a question. Mo, thank you. Says Sutton or Allen? I'd rather, as of right now, I think in both half and full PPR, I have Allen ahead of Sutton. I didn't have coffee. That's the problem. No, in a half PPR, I go Cortland. In a full PPR, I'll take Keenan Allen. Thank you. Says, worried about the blowout with Allen. Yeah, again, like you mentioned before, Mo. If you're worried about it, go with Cortland Sutton. If you have a standard league or a half PPR league, I have Sutton ranked higher anyway. Dan Seck sends in a question. Says, I traded Aaron Jones and Flowers for Bucky and Pearsall. Okay, I don't have an issue with that at all. That's a great trade. Good investment for the future. Well done, my man. Thank you. Continuing on, we have Low-Key Dusty, who says, I have a surplus of startable players this week. For my 2 running back spots and flex, who do I start between Etienne, Travion Henderson, Monungai, Dowdle, and Gadsden? Yeah, I would play 3 running backs. I would play Monungai, Travion, and Etienne. Those are the 3 that I would roll with. Thank you. Alex Fortin says, half PPR start Bam Knight or Wanda Robinson. As of right now, let's see where I have Knight comparatively. I have Wanda Robinson ranked higher. Thank you. Carlos Z says, should I trade away Quentin Johnston and Genty to pick up Daniel Jones, Wanda Robinson, or Charbonnet? Also, is it time to fire up Hendo? Yes, fire up Hendo. Says, I have Kenneth Walker and Genty. I would play Hendo ahead of Kenneth Walker, please and thank you. As for trading away QJ and Genty, that's completely up to what you can get in exchange. If you were going to move Quentin Johnston and Ashton Genty to pick up Daniel Jones and Wanda Robinson and Charbonnet, I wouldn't feel too good about it unless my quarterback was getting a huge upgrade there. Thank you. Okay, Vomsi says, rank Tedero McMillan, Chase Brown, Wanda Robinson, Dobbs in a PPR. Wanda number 1, Chase Brown number 2, Tedero McMillan number 3, Dobbs number 4. Guys, my brain is shutting down so badly I can't even talk English anymore. What is going on? Cesar Sanchez says, pick 3, Kittle, Henderson, Genty, Kyron, or Tyron Tracy. Of the 3 available, in a half PPR scoring format, the way I currently have it kind of structured out is like triple running back here. So if I was in your situation, I would go with Henderson, Genty, and Kyron. Caesar, thank you. All right. Heinze 347. Half PPR, Parker Washington, was that Harvey or Downs? I would roll with Parker Washington there. Thank you. Scott Green says, full PPR. I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex between Quentin Johnson, DJ Moore, Jameson Williams, and Franklin. DJ Moore and Jameson Williams should be your 2 primaries. Thank you. Joel Hernandez says, bro, I have Gadsden, Bowers, and Tyler Warren. Sit 1. Gadsden sits. Bowers and Tyler Warren play. Thank you. Rudy sends in a question. Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate it. Rudy says, full PPR start 2. ETN, Gadsden, Hendy, Sutton. Yeah. As of right now, between the available options, I'm playing both of the running backs, Henderson and ETN. Thank you. Justin sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Tedero, McMillan, or Worthy? I would play Tedero, McMillan there. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. All right. Mo K says, can you answer the second part of my question? I sent it twice. Okay, let's see what we have here, brother. I don't see your second part of your question, though, Mo. Yeah, can you retype it in the chat, Mo? Thank you, man. I apologize for that. We had a question that came in from GB who says, Hurts is on a bye. Do I drop Kyler for Flacco, Darnold, or Brissett? I mean, as of right now, if Kyler's going to be your starter for the rest of the season, the question is, do we really want to drop him outright? If I'm going to pick up a player, I would probably just pick up Brissett. And if you had to pick up, or if you had to drop a player, I guess dropping Kyler to pick him up is not a bad decision to make. But if we're talking about like rest of season starting, I don't mind the idea of just rolling with Darnold or Flacco there. Flacco's actually kind of a prime position under the assumption that he's able to pull together and stay healthy here. Emily Doyle says, JCM or Laporta? I'll take Laporta there in the flex. Thank you. David Diaz says, question thin in the chat. If you don't mind. Yeah, you're fine. Let's see what you have here, brother. Type it in whenever you get a chance. Mo, whenever you have a follow-up, go ahead and type that in as well. Dan Seck sent in something, says coffee, coffee, coffee. Answer my second part of my question. Yeah, sounds good. Dan, retype in the question, brother. Because I tried to check your type out logs and there's nothing there. Hank Hennig, what's up, my man? Rough Spot says full PPR. I need a flex and an RB2. Jordan Mason, JCM, Spears, Parker Washington, Torrey Horton, or Coker. Of the availables, I would play flex Parker Washington, and RB2, I would play Spears. Thank you. In a full PPR. Mo says, I asked about a trade of Daniel Jones. I'm offering Kamara and Monungai for him, and he has Lamar. Oh, he has Lamar. Oh, I understand. I was under the impression that you had Lamar. That's why I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So in the event in which you're getting Daniel Jones, I'm okay with this trade. That is fine by me. Thank you, Mo. I apologize for that. I just misread it in the first iteration. That's why I was confused. Because I thought I already addressed it. Yeah, that's my bad. Okay. Let's see here. We have a question that came in from after Hank. Thank you again, Hank. Cameron, who says Montgomery, Rico, or Kareem Hunt. I'd rather... Okay, so the order at which I currently have it is Hunt 1, Rico 2, Montgomery 3. Thank you. CG says full PPR. Who should my two running backs be? Vidal, Tracy, Dobbins, or Spears? It should be Vidal and Tracy. Also, I don't know who to flex out of all those running backs and the potential of Dobbs or Downs. I'd play 3 running backs this week if I was you. I'd play Vidal, Tracy, and Dobbins. Excuse me. Rudy says start 1 full PPR, BTJ, Chase Brown, Gadsden, or Olave. Out of those available options, I'm going to play, as of right now, Brian Thomas Jr. is my highest ranked. Actually, I believe so. Let me just check one more time. Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. would be the start in this current situation. Thank you. David Diaz says, I traded Teddy Romo and Chase Brown for London. Thoughts? I think that's a fine trade. I mean, if you have the running back depth to be able to sustain that, David, I think you're fine. Also, in another league, can I start Bam Knight? Injuries wrecked me. Yeah, absolutely start Bam Knight. He's going to be great. AJ Barner or Torrey Horton rest of the season? I don't think that's a rest of season question. That doesn't compute in my mind because Torrey Horton only plays because Kupp is out. Okay, let me go ahead and try to catch up here. Let's see if Dan Sackett sent in his follow-up. Wrong chart. Here we go. Should I drop Pearsall? Don't want to waste the spot for a glass wide receiver. I have Rashee Rice, Puka Nacua, Keenan Allen, Franklin, and Torrey Horton are on my team. I would keep him, genuinely. I know he's dealing with a knee injury, but I would keep him. You've waited this long. What's the point of changing it now? Thank you, Dan. All right, continuing on, let me go ahead and get back into the live stream chat. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Rudy. We took care of that one. We're taking BTJ there. Carlos Z says, thanks. You need a double espresso, my guy. Yeah, usually I do drink a double espresso before the stream on Sunday mornings. Just today's been a little bit of a trickier day, so wasn't able to get to that. Says, I need a wide receiver and a flex in a half PPR. Tedderole, McMillan, Debo, Dobbs, Quentin Johnston, K9. Of your available options here, Carlos, I'm going to suggest you play Tet and Debo today. Thank you. Biggie sends in a question and says, Bam or Debo in the flex? I'd play Debo Samuel there, Biggie. Thank you. Gerardo says, PPR Tet, Chase, or Dowdle in the flex. In a PPR scoring format, I have Chase Brown ranked the highest. Next question is Flacco, Dart, Stafford, Brissett, Caleb, Darnold. I'd play Jackson Dart there. Already played Zay and Henry. Yeah, you're good to go, brother. Just go with Dart and Chase Brown. Thank you. Rudy sends in a question, says full PPR start 2, Adunze, BTJ, Chase Brown, Olave, Gadsden. Of the available options do you have at your disposal? I would go with Gadsden and BTJ. Actually, no, you have Adunze as well. So it's BTJ and Adunze. Thank you, Rudy. Gwen, thank you very much. Says, hey, Andrew, pick one. Henderson, Warren, Adunze, Gadsden. You've got a really good grouping of players, but if I had to choose just one of them, I'm going to play Travion Henderson there. Robert sends in a question, says, drop the Lions or Green Bay. I would prefer to keep the Lions defense for this week and probably going forward. It's just BT. Says Tedero, McMillan, or Monunga. I'd rather play Monunga. Thank you. Shark Boy says PPR 2. Pick 2. Harvey, Spears, Brashard Smith. Must win. Spears is an automatic for me there. As for the alternatives of Harvey or Brashard Smith, I don't know if I can trust Brashard Smith, so I'll just play Harvey and Spears there. Thank you. Aaron Northcutt says Pierce or DJ Moore. I'll play DJ Moore there, Aaron. Thank you. All right, is there any new updates in regards to this? Okay, nothing of news as of right now. Justin says Bam Knight or Chase Brown. It depends on scoring format. If you're playing in a half PPR, you could play Bam Knight. If you're playing in a full PPR, you should play Chase Brown there. It says Worthy or Kyle Monangai, flex full PPR. I would play Kyle Monangai there. Justin, thank you. Appreciate it, my man. Okay, so we're about 35 minutes from ending today's live stream. Again, we've effectively, slowly but surely caught up. I do appreciate you guys being patient. Apologies for those of you who I missed your guys' questions. I'm sure I've probably missed other questions already, and I'll try to get to those as soon as I possibly can. Again, one of me, many of you. I hope you guys are enjoying today's live stream, and hopefully we can get ourselves into a position to where lineups are set, and of course, we're finding success this week. And of course, we're avoiding any and all injuries, fingers crossed, of course. Again, for those of you who are just joining us this morning, welcome. Quick reminder. Again, the rankings on screen to the right side are up to date as of this morning. So if you have any questions in regards to interpositional ranking, hopefully that will address it and lead you in the right direction. Thank you. Like, for example, Constantino, who's very much so a familiar name and someone who's been around the channel for the last 5 years here, has asked me a question in which he knows he can find the answer on the screen. Constantino, brother, play Hendo there. All right. Andrew Smith in the chat says, who has a higher ceiling, Sutton or Tedero McMillan? Playing the first place team need upside. Technically, Sutton has the most upside, but I think the overall matchup in itself kind of hurts him. CG says, hey, Andrew, stream messed up. Did you answer my question? I did, but I can answer it again. You had asked full PPR, who should my 2 running backs be? And flex. I suggested you play 3 running backs. You play Vidal, Tracy, and Dobbins this week. Thank you. Okay, we had a question from Quincy Jones. Actually, yeah, before I get let's just answer Quincy Jones. It says start 1, Kittle, Olave, Keenan Allen, Tedero McMillan. I'd play Kittle there. Thank you. We had a question from Salvador, who says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, 1 flex and 1 wide receiver, Tyjae Spears, DJ Moore, Chase Brown, Stephon Diggs, Jameer DK. My starting RBs and wide receivers are Tracy, Jalen Warren, and Marvin Harrison. Thanks from Tijuana, Mexico. Thank you very much, Salvador. Of the available options you have at your disposal, I would lean in the direction of playing Chase Brown alongside of Stephon Diggs as your wide receiver and your flex. Thank you. Kiwi Sports, Kiwi, hope you're doing well, my man. Says rank in a half PPR. Loveland, Barner, Parker, Washington, Christian Watson. Okay, let me see where I have. So if I'm not mistaken, the way in which I currently have it structured, let me see where I have Watson comparatively to Loveland, and I'll let you know. Okay, so the way in which I have it currently structured, I have Parker. Okay, so in a half PPR, I have Barner 1, Parker Washington 2, Christian Watson 3, and Colston Loveland 4. Thank you. Appreciate it. Someone asked London Pittman or Jalen Warren. I'd play Pittman there. Jason, Zachary. Appreciate it. Ray Barrera sent in a question. It says full PPR. Sit Sutton for Charbonnet in the flex. Full PPR? Let me check. As of right now, in a full PPR, I have Sutton ranked higher. But if you wanted to play Charbonnet, you can. Thank you. Quincy says, that was easy. Answer my question in like 5 seconds. I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. Let's see here. Tarek in the chat was saying Christian Watson or Troy Franklin. I would probably prefer Troy Franklin there, actually. Standard league, what does it say? Downs or Slayton? I just play Downs there. Michael Recor says Quentin Johnston, Kendrick Bourne, Kayshawn Booty. Quentin Johnston's number 1. Kayshawn Booty 2, Kendrick Bourne 3. Says I'm playing Gadsden. I don't know if I'm reaching on QJ. Again, as of right now, playing both Chargers I don't think is a bad idea. But if you wanted to pivot, again, regardless of whether you pick Johnston, Bourne, or Booty, you have to score a touchdown. They have to. So you kind of are just like risking potential for touchdown upside, to which that is the name of the game in that circumstance. Ryan Kennedy sends in a question. Says full PPR, Gadsden, Worthy, Franklin, RJ, Flex. Play Gadsden there. Thank you. Edward Reynolds sends in a question. Thank you very much, Edward. Says says full PPR, Bam Knight, Xavier Worthy, Woody Marks. I would play Woody Marks of the available. Thank you. Mike Norris says, I'm stumped, boys. Half PPR, start 2, Drake London, Tedero McMillan, J.K. Dobbins. I have to start 1 for the wide receiver and 1 in the flex. In a half PPR scoring format, let me see where I have Dobbins comparatively. Yeah, I play both receivers. Give me Tat and London there. I'd bench Dobbins in the circumstance. Thank you. 96 Karis says, start 1 running back and 1 flex. RJ, was that Tracy, ETN, Kamara? Okay, yeah. Of the available options you have at your disposal, in a full PPR scoring format, I probably just end up playing a Dunze as your flex and ETN as your RB. Keenan Allen or Diggs. The rankings on screen, I believe, display Diggs as the higher ranked, so I'd go in that direction. Jaden Daniels or Flacco. I don't have Flacco ranked on screen. I have Jaden Daniels as like my number 6, so I would go with Jaden there. Thank you. Manana sends in a question, says, thanks for the advice and have a blessed Sunday. Thank you very much. You do as well. Thank you. Alrighty. Slowly but surely getting there. Bourne or Horton? I'd rather play Horton there. Okay, what is this? Let's ban this user. Maddie says, thank you for staying long. Pick 2 running backs and 1 flex. Rico, Chase Brown, BTJ, Gadsden, Knight. In a full PPR circumstance here, I would roll with BTJ and Gadsden. In the event in which it was half PPR, I'm cool with BTJ and Chase Brown. Or maybe even BTJ and Knight. Let me see. Where do I have Knight in comparison to Chase Brown in a half PPR? It would be Knight. So it would be Knight and BTJ there, half PPR. Otherwise, BTJ and Gadsden, full PPR. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Wakil says Gadsden or Spears, full PPR. Gadsden. Worth playing Gadsden over Debo or Wandell? I wouldn't say so, Jacob. I would keep both those wide receivers in. Shahid or Shakir? I'd prefer to play Shakir. Says full PPR, Wandell Robinson or Tracy? I'd rather play Wandell Robinson there, Austin. Armani says full PPR, need 2 picks. Dobbins, Kamara, Diggs, Bowers. If it's a full PPR, I would prefer to play Diggs and Bowers. Jennings or Addison in the flex, full PPR. I would just prefer to play Diggs there. I mean, Addison, jeez. I was thinking Minnesota Viking, and then somehow Diggs came to my mind. Wow, that's crazy. My brain is fried. Kareem Hunt or Romeo Doubs in the flex. As long as it's a half PPR, I'm cool with going Kareem Hunt there. Even if it's a full, I could justify it, but it becomes a little bit sketchier. McMillan or Debo Samuel, I'd roll with Debo there. Pedro, what's up, my man? Says, can I get your insight on Travion Henderson for rest of season? Will he become the RB1? It depends on how he plays today, purely. That's just it. If he goes out and rushes for 150 yards and is unstoppable, undeniable, then going forward, the coaching staff will have to reevaluate the overall opportunity share. And with given more opportunity, he would have more opportunity to potentially score, be more effective, and prove to the organization that he should be the starter for the rest of the season. So luckily today, he has an advantageous matchup to where, yes, hopefully he'll be able to kind of take the claim of the position and run away with it as we proceed. No Trey Hendrickson. Caleb might eat. I don't think Trey Hendrickson's really going to make too much of a difference anyway because they're going to be handing off the ball for majority of the game. Bowers or Henderson? In a full PPR, let me check. Henderson is 4 spots ahead of Bowers. So they're close. So I could justify it, but I'd still go with Hendo there. Appreciate it. Okay, we had a question that came in from Josh who says Shakir or Bam Knight in the flex full PPR. Let me check where I have Shakir there. As of right now, between the two of them, I have Shakir 3 spots ahead of Bam Knight. So I'd go with Shakir there in the full PPR. Thank you. Brucky says standard league. Dowdle, Charbonnet, Addison, Marks. If I'm starting 2 of them, I would probably just go with Marks and Dowdle there and just hope for the best. Adam says start 2, Monangai, Shakir, DJ Moore, Walker. I just play Shakir and Monangai there, Adam. All right, we had a question from DC, which sends in a very generous super chat and says, full PPR, I see your rankings on running back. It says, QJ RB from the Browns went for 90 yards in a tutty against Green Bay's defense as a rookie who basically came in like we're talking about practice. Flex 1, RB2. One of these dud. Kareem Hunt, Rico Dowdle, the truth. Or Shakir. That's funny. I like that question, though. I like the whole like story that you kind of laid out there. I mean, again, I understand that Rico Dowdle played well against the Green Bay Packers run stop defense. But the only issue which I have with Rico Dowdle as it stands is because even though the coaching staff has said, oh yeah, we want to give more looks to Rico Dowdle, I don't believe them until they prove it to me. You know what I mean? That's my only primary concern there. So of the current circumstance here, if we're picking one flex and one RB2 of those available, I'm cool going with, well, as of right now, the way I currently have it ranked would be Kareem Hunt, Shakir, and then Rico's the odd man out. So if you wanted to play Rico over Shakir, you could, but Hunt has to play, in my opinion. Thank you. Marks are down standard league. I'd rather play Woody Marks there, Justin. Daniel says full PPR, Dobbs or Gadsden. I'd rather play Gadsden. MC says full PPR, Chase Brown or Jalen Warren. I'd rather play Jalen Warren. Crix Cod says Trey Hendrickson might be traded. I do think so too. I think if they lose today, he gets traded to the 49ers most likely. David Montgomery or Rico in a standard. I'd rather play Rico. Derek Moses says Monungai or Jalen Warren, chat. I'd rather play Monungai there, brother. Oscar F says Trey Tucker, Alec Pierce, Spears, or Horton, full PPR. If I'm sitting one of the available, I end up sitting Horton. Everybody else plays. Thank you. LePanch says, good day, Andrew. Rest of season, half PPR, Montgomery, Bam Knight, or Marks. Marks is the highest ranked rest of season. Jocelyn says, thanks. Let's go, Travion. This is your chance. Yeah, genuinely, this is his chance. Jacoby Myers or Quentin Johnston? Trida. I'd rather play Quentin Johnston. We have a question in from Charlene says, hey, Andrew, Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker? I prefer Trey Tucker as of this moment. Thank you. Hicks says, do we trust JJM, as in JJ McCarthy, to and can start Addison or go with Booty? I don't know if we can trust him, but I want to hope that his time off, he's learned enough to, figure it out. Thank you. Tier Limits says play TJ Hawkinson and drop Loveland or Barner. Drop Loveland for Barner. I would be okay playing TJ Hawkinson there if you want to hold on to Loveland in case he expands his role going into the future. I'm cool with that. Again, Josh Oliver, who thus far this season has been very much so implicated within the receiving game of the Vikings offense, has already been designated out. So over the course of this season, when we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, a lot of the value which we could have seen theoretically TJ Hawkinson come away with, unfortunately, has been stolen by Josh Oliver, who has scored 2 receiving touchdowns on his 5 total receptions. So if those receptions go in the direction of Hawkinson this week, I think he's a solid play. So I'm cool keeping it as is, under the assumption that you want to wait for Loveland to maybe have a breakout here as we proceed. Okay, let's see here. Emerson says, sorry if you answered this already. I missed it. Pick 3, Marvin Harrison, DK Addison, Nico Collins, Woody Marks, and Cortland Sutton. In a PPR of those available, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, and Marvin Harrison are my 3 highest ranked there, Emerson. Mookie the Wizard says, half PPR, Josh Allen or Herbert, play Josh Allen. B Van Van, long time no see. Hope you're doing well, B Van Van. Says, hey, Andrew, in a PPR, Bam Knight, Io Manor, Troy Franklin, Parker Washington. Give me Bam Knight there. Thank you. All right, Ryan Clark, long time no see. Actually, no, I saw you earlier. What am I saying? Henderson or Addison? Play Henderson. Sold it. Sends it a question. Says, Jameson, DJ Moore, Addison, or Dowdle? Got to fill wide receiver 2 in flex, please. Help. Of your available options, I like the idea of going like Addison and Dowdle there as the combo in a half PPR. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Chiefs looking for another explosive running back ahead of the trade deadline. Yeah, I mean, again, if you guys remember, there was a couple years ago where the Chiefs, they traded for a running back from the Jets. Do you guys remember who that was? Yes, that was Le'Veon Bell. So don't be surprised if, the Chiefs go knocking on that Breece Hall door, and let's see what's behind door number 1, And that might be a championship based on the way that offense is going. So we'll see. Appreciate it. Continuing on, Caveman Clan says, starting Nico, Pittman, Roma Dunze, George Pickens, should I replace anyone with Hunter? Bam. Assuming you're playing in a full PPR, no. You just keep all those guys going. Magic Bell sends in a question. Says, half PPR, Quentin Johnston, Woody Marks, JCM, pick 2. Like the stream. Thank you very much, Mike. Magic Mike. Oh my gosh. My brain. Okay. So, in regards to your question, Marks has to play. As for JCM or Quentin Johnston in a half PPR, let's see where I have Jacory. As of right now, I have Quentin Johnston ahead of him. So I'll play Quentin Johnston and Woody Marks there. Thank you. Then we have Caveman, which we took care of. Again, play all 4 of those wide receivers under the assumption that you're playing in a full PPR. Thank you. Flacco or Brissett? I'm playing Brissett. Again, the rankings on screen will answer that. Is that an Isaiah Davis tweet? It kind of is. If you haven't picked up Isaiah Davis in your league, probably pick it up. If you have the open available spot, of course. Joe P sends in a question. Joe, thank you. Says pick 2 quarterbacks, A-Rod, Mac, or Trevor Lawrence. In another, okay, hold up. I would play Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. That's number 1 and 2. As for your next question, Brissett or Knicks, I would play Brissett. One more pick in a full PPR, flex Booty, Franklin, Worthy, Ertz, or Josh Downs. Of those available, I would play Zach Ertz. Thank you. Even without the tight end premium, I'm fine playing Ertz there. Thank you. John says, would you do Nico Collins for Tyrone Tracy and Jordan Addison? It depends how incredibly desperate I am for running back. If I'm super desperate, sure. Did you say Magic Mike? You know, I tried to say thank you, Magic Bell, and then I saw the M and my brain short-circuited and just said Mike, and then I said Mike and then Magic Mike, and then it just all went to complete disaster. So yeah, I did say it. You don't even have to ask me, brother. You just rewind the stream. Are we starting Wanda Robinson or Ferguson in the flex? I think it depends on format entirely. Currently in a half PPR scoring format, I have, well, actually no, it doesn't even matter. I have Wanda Robinson both half and full PPR. Okay, Sold It sends in a question. Says, starting Brock Bowers, should I flex Kraft, London, or Roma Dunze? As of right now, I'm not joking. I have Kraft ranked higher than both London and Rome, so play Kraft. Let's see here. Slamajama says, who would you play today, full PPR, Gadsden or T. Higgins? I would play Gadsden. Jared Sanders says, Goff or Knicks? I'd play Goff. 1 point per pass? Yeah, just play Goff. BTJ or Gadsden? I mean, I'm looking at my half PPR rankings right now. I have BTJ pretty well ahead of him. Like 4 or 5 spots there. Half PPR, Kenneth Walker or Parker Washington. I'm cool with Kenneth Walker there. Trevor Lawrence, sick, and Rodgers has a hand injury. Yeah, I'd rather play the sick quarterback than the injured one. Kelvin Brooks says, I'm really torn here. At 500, Monungai or Genti? I'd rather just play Monungai again. If you want to play Genti, I don't think it's a wrong answer. I think both are going to play well. Dak or Love, I'd rather play Dak. Too much upside in the potential matchup ahead. Soul315 sends in a question. Soul, thank you. Says, flex Adunze, London, or Vidal? I'd rather play Vidal. Chris Rosado says, Darnold or Goff? I'd rather play... I mean, look, as of right now, the way that I have it currently structured is Goff ahead of Darnold by 1 spot. So that's where I'll go. Christian Watson or Downs? I'd play Downs. Let's hear. Joel Hernandez sends in a question. Joel, thank you. Says, bro, I have Gaston Bowers and Trevor Lawrence at 1. Yeah, we answered this earlier. I don't know if you missed it, but I suggest that you played Bowers and Warren and Sid Gaston. Thank you. If you had another question, let me know. Rome or Nico? I'd rather play Nico. Isaiah Davis or Singletary? Free agent pickup question? I'd rather pick up Isaiah Davis 10 times out of 10. Woody or Aaron Jones? Standard, I'm assuming is what your question is. I'd just rather play Woody there. Bo Nix or Dart? It's not close. I don't even have Bo Nix ranked on screen. I'd go with Jackson Dart there. Kevin Effect sends in a question. Kevin, thank you. Says, full PPR, Horton or Parker Washington or Diami Brown? Play Parker Washington. Thank you. Harvey or Spears? I would rather play Spears. Caleb Williams, Stafford, or Jordan Love? Jordan Love's my ranked highest. ETN or JMO? I'd rather play ETN. Henderson, Marks, or Knight? I'd rather play Henderson. Harvey or Spears? Play Spears. Thank you. Okay. Ever so slowly catching up. Super Mex 24/7 says, in a full PPR, Dowdle, Monungai, or Shakir in the flex? I'd rather play Monungai out of the available options you have. Alrighty. Slowly but surely catching up. Jay sends in a question. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that, my man. Jay says, in a half PPR, 1 point per 15 yards for kickoff and punt returns, Kamara or DK? I'd rather just play DK, assuming DK gets some sort of utilization within that. DK has been the beast in kicking. Yeah, then just play him. You know the answer. You're good to go, brother. Run him. Caveman says 2 questions. Okay. Starting Nico, Pittman, Rome, Pickens. Okay. Should I replace any of them with Hunt or Bam? It's a half PPR. Got it. So in this case, if a half PPR, let me check where I have Hunt comparatively, and I'll let you know. Because that was my primary question to you was, are you playing in a half PPR or not? So of the available options you have, I actually have all of them ranked higher in a half PPR than Hunt and Bam Knight. So in this case, Caveman, yes, I would play all 4 of your receivers like I mentioned before. Alrighty. Question from Sid, who says, full PPR, pick 2, Addison, Quentin Johnston, Dowdle, Henderson. I would play probably Henderson, and then I'd roll with, do I have Dowdle ahead of Addison? I do. Henderson and Dowdle are my suggestions there, Sid. That's in a half PPR. My apologies. Hold up. Re-rack it. In a full PPR, it gets adjusted to where, let me see here. Yeah, in a full PPR, it's Addison and Henderson. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We had a question from the Money Mark, who sends in a question and says, nothing. Message is got, what is it? This message is held for review. It says, hi, man. Half PPR, pick 2, JCM, Tyjae Spears, DK. I don't know why your message got held for review, but in your position, Money Mark, I would suggest playing Spears and DK. Thank you. Sunflower sends in a question. It says, Justin Jefferson, Theo Johnson, or Nico and Pitts. I would rather play Nico and Pitts. Thank you. Peter Clark says, Andrew, thanks for what you do. Chase Brown or Gadsden? I have Gadsden ranked higher in a full PPR. Thank you. Pick 2, Addison, BTJ, Debo. BTJ and Debo are my suggestions, Henry. Thank you. Debo or Monangai? I'd rather play Monangai. Thank you. Downs, Marks, or Franklin? I'd rather play Marks there, Dave. Aaron Rodgers took all his normal reps and warm-ups. Okay, so he's fine. Trevor Lawrence dealing with an illness, remains, what is it? Expected to play in week 9. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Flu game incoming. Here we go. Isaiah Aguilar sends in a question. Says, Jawan Johnson or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt full PPR? I'd rather play Jawan Johnson. Thank you. Andrew, the esteemed one. Kareem Hunt or Stephon Diggs in the flex half PPR. Tarek, play Kareem Hunt, brother. Thank you. Adam says, in a standard league, would you start Tony Pollard or Kenneth Walker? I'd rather start Kenneth Walker. Thank you. Chase Rosman says, Horton or Myers in a full PPR? I have Myers ranked higher. Says, do you think they'll showcase Myers coming off of the injury before potential trade or protect him from injury? I don't think that they're going to protect him. I think they actually want to trade him because he is, on multiple occasions thus far this season, said he wants to be traded. Any chance Rashid doesn't play? No. Earlier today, they already designated that he's going to play along with Kamara. That was the report. Let's see here. Hinsey says, Parker Washington, Kyle Pitts, Christian Watson, or Trey Tucker. Of those available, I'm going to suggest you play Kyle Pitts. Thank you. Somebody has DK Metcalf or Pittman. That's from P-Flow. I would play Pittman Jr. Thank you. Blizzy says Javonte or Henderson. Says Derrick Henry already played, and my other starting running back is James Cook. I think you've got a bunch of great options. If I was you, I wouldn't even take the risk. Just play Javonte Williams. You've got studs. Just play your studs. Wandale Robinson or Ferguson? I would rather play Wandale Robinson. I have him ranked higher. Keenan Allen or Gadsden? I have Gadsden ranked higher. Let's see. James O'Brien says Travion Henderson or Travis Etienne. I'll just roll with Henderson in a full PPR. That works for me. Bob Orton says full PPR, flex start Higgins, Tracy, or Kittle. I believe I have Tracy ranked the highest of the bunch. In a half PPR, in a full PPR, it's Kittle. Kittle or Henderson? I'd go with Hendo. Thank you. Worthy or Gadsden? I'd rather go with Gadsden. Thank you. Alrighty. I have effectively caught up. Thank you. Quick reminder, again, for those of you guys who are joining us this morning, if you guys have just only popped in prior to the stream, in the last 5-10 minutes here, and you guys are wondering what's going on over here, and you may be new to the channel, again, the rankings that are on screen are updated as of this morning. So if you have any interpositional questions in regards to what kicker should I play or what defenses I should play this week, these are my top 12 rankings at both positions. Additionally, we have my top 36 running back, wide receiver, top 12, or top, I already mentioned my top 12 kickers and defenses, and of course my top 16 tight ends and quarterbacks. So keep that in mind. Man, I need coffee so badly. It is unbelievable. My mental acuity has dipped like 40 points minimum. Gadsden or Debo? Gatling gun. Play Debo there. Josh Downs and drop Ricky Pearsall for rest of season. I'm okay with that, but I don't love it. I honestly would rather keep Pearsall because I think the value there is a little bit too much. Ferguson or Ingram? I'd rather play Ferguson or Armani. And then ETN or Kareem Hunt? I'd rather play ETN. Again, the rankings on screen should answer many of your questions if you guys can go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, again, if it doesn't answer your questions, if you need flex rankings, you can always find flex rankings via the Patreon, or of course, you can sign up using code Andrew via Betr to get those rankings every single week for my email directly to yours. Sugar-free Red Bull, my guy? I'm not really a big Red Bull guy. I'd rather just drink coffee. I'm fine. Let's see here. Ando says DK, Jennings, or Shaheed. Half PPR. Ando, the rankings on screen are for half PPR, so utilize those to the best of your abilities to decipher what it is. Gadsden or Dowdle? I'd rather go with Gadsden at that point. K Murph says, hi Andrew, I have the Eagles defense, but they're on bye. What defense should I pick up? Okay, so quick reminder, there's rankings that pop up here on screen. There's going to be 12 defenses. If any of those are available, pick them up. Why don't people answer chat questions? Everybody asks, but don't answer anything. I don't know what this Will guy's talking about, but okay. Welcome, Will. Joseph Mai says, drop Texans defense for the... I'm okay with that. At least it kind of gives you this... I mean, look, like the Texans defense I would want to have on roster for the rest of the season, so maybe I just drop the Chargers defense, start the Texans, then pick up Isaiah Davis. I think that might be the better plan of action for rest of season potential. But again, the Isaiah Davis thing is purely just a matter of like, it's all speculatory. Like it might not happen. It might happen. Garrett says, can you check my super chat? Oh, I didn't even know this that you sent one, Garrett. My apologies. Garrett, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so there was a couple sent in here that I missed. Okay, so we missed Tyrell Washington, who says Gadsden or Tyrell McMillan. We'll take Gadsden there. Thank you, Tyrell. And then we had Aaron Northcutt says that's Ferguson, Pitts, Gadsden. I have Vidal and Herbert. Got it. Of those available, play Ferguson. And then Garrett says PPR start 2. Travion Henderson, Genty, Gadsden, or Addison. I'm going to suggest you play both of your running backs. Play Genty and play Travion Henderson. Those are the two best plays that you could possibly put together there. Thank you very much. Then we continue on with Nick Watson. Never mind. He redacted his question. Never mind. Keep it moving. Alrighty. Let's see here. Mike Mendoza in the chat says full PPR Kamara or Knight. I'd rather play Bam Knight. Thinking Tyler Shuck might be checking it down a lot. I mean, look, here's the thing. He didn't do it last week. He played the entirety of the second half of last week's game, and there wasn't a lot of checkdowns. And the only checkdowns were going in the direction of the tight end position. So that's what's the primary concern as of right now. Why is Chris Boswell ranked so low? Play Chris Boswell. If you don't trust it, play Chris Boswell. That's all I can say. I'm not here to, Tony Brown says, who do I start? I have to pick 3 between Woody, Myers, J-Mo, Trey Tucker, and Bill. And what's the order? I'm not playing Bill. So I'm going to play Woody, I'm going to play J-Mo, and I'm going to play Trey Tucker as the 1, 2, 3. Then Myers 4, then Bill 5. Anything I could do not to play Bill at this point. Thank you. Dowdle or Bam Knight. I'd rather just play Bam Knight for right now. T. Higgins, Wandell Robinson, or Hunt. I need one. If it's a half PPR, it's Hunt. If it's a full PPR, it's Wandell. Jalen Warren or Zonovan Knight, it's Warren. Emmanuel sends in a question. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Emmanuel. Says, Worthy or Gadsden? I'd rather play Gadsden. Checkmate in the chat says, I feel like Terrell Jennings is going to be the man today. It's such a Bill-style move. Vrabel would do. I don't know. We'll see, though. The Worldwide Eagle says, start 2 running backs, Henderson, Genty, ETN, Warren. Again, the rankings on screen would lead you in the direction of going probably Henderson and ETN. If you wanted to play Genty and ETN just to play your 2 studs, I think that's not a bad idea either. Rico or Sharps? At this point, I'm going Rico. Zach Mueller says T. Higgins, Wandell Robinson, or Hunt. Again, if it's a full PPR, give me Wandell. If it's a half, give me Hunt. Thank you. Ferguson or Tracy, PPR. Let me see where I have Ferguson comparatively to Tracy in a full PPR. Fergie, let's see. I have Ferguson ranked higher. Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet, play Charbonnet. Manungai or Woody, play Manungai. MC sends in a question, says, question is in the chat. Thank you, MC. Full PPR, Chase Brown or Jaylen Warren? Jaylen Warren. Why is Keenan Allen so low? Because it's going to be a blowout. You stopped one question from... I don't understand. What happened, Drew? You missed mine? Never mind, love you? Okay. I don't know what you're talking about, brother. I'm so confused, you guys. I'm so tired. Like, I am, like, delirious at this point. I have not enough sleep, but luckily we have 5 minutes until we're done. Okay, here we go. MC, where's your question? I have to answer it. Says, greetings, full PPR. Do I start a Dunze in my wide receiver slot and Jaylen Warren in my flex spot? I have Chase Brown and Keenan Allen on the bench. Who do I play? Okay, of the available options here, I would play Jaylen Warren and I would play a Dunze. You're good to go. Keep it moving. Thank you. Eugene Leone says, Gadsden or Knight in a full PPR. I would play Gadsden genuinely. Thank you. Let's see here. Took care of that. Did Emmanuel... Okay, Emmanuel, I guess, yoinked. Okay, very well. Interesting. We'll know that for the future. We'll write his name down. Emo Cakes says Standard, Higgins, Jake Ferguson, or Charbonnet. I just go Ferguson there. Yeah, I just go Fergie. Juwan Jennings or Chase Brown, full PPR. I'm cool with Chase Brown there. Thanks. I got the 49ers and dropped the Eagles. Beautiful, okay. BTJ or Manungai? Play Manungai. Marvin Harrison, ETN, BTJ. ETN and BTJ. Just play both Jaguars. Standard League, Quentin Johnston or Kamara. Genuinely, I'd probably just play Johnston there and hope for a touchdown, big play. Sunday is so much fun for with football. Yeah, I mean it's fun if you're winning in fantasy. If you're not winning, I don't think it's very fun. At least personally, from my perspective. What's safer, Sam Darnold or Brissett? I think Sam Darnold's just going to be safe all the time. But I think both are fantastic. Ando says, rest of season, Judkins or Travis Etienne? I'd rather have Travis Etienne because Judkins dealing with a shoulder injury. Official Honest Abe says, JCM or Charbonnet? Play Charbonnet. Ferguson, Kittle, Gadsden, pick 2. I'll play Ferguson and Kittle. Thank you. Tedero, McMillan, or Shakir? Okay, never mind. You're talking to somebody else, Nima. No problem. Nima. Levi says, take a B rip. Okay, brother. Good one. Good one. What the fuck? Goodness gracious. Roy says, pick 2 wide receivers and a flex. Full PPR, Mooney, Trey Tucker, Shaheed, Washington, Spears, or Jordan Mason. Of the available options you have, I'd go with Shaheed and I would go with Parker Washington there. And then I would flex Tyjae Spears, Roy. Keenan Allen or Myers? I'd just rather play Keenan Allen. Wanda Robinson or Gadsden in a non-PPR? At that point, I'm just going to play Gadsden and hope for a touchdown. Bam or Shakir in a half PPR? Patrick, play Bam. Starting Caleb Williams over Jackson Dart, I'm nervous. Good luck. I'd play Jackson Dart there if I was you. Dowdle higher now? Not really. I'd leave it as such. I don't believe them until I see it. Because I got burnt last week primarily. Alex says Torrey Horton or AJ Barner. I'd rather play AJ Barner. Ibrahim says Shutton Munty, half PPR. I'm so confused. Ibrahim, what does that mean, brother? Devontae Adams or Nico Collins? I think they're both fantastic. Carson, I'd rather just play Devontae at this point. Anyone start Torrey Horton, DJ Moore, or Jordan Addison? I'd rather just play Addison at that point. Okay, let's see here. Please, brother, flex, Rico, Booty, Shakir, Franklin, or Downs. Just play Rico Dowdle there. If it's a full PPR, just play Shakir. Stone broke. AJ Barner or Ingram? I'd rather play AJ Barner. Keon Coleman or Harvey? I'd rather play Keon Coleman. Smith or Kamara? Depends on which Smith. I don't know who you're talking about. Let's see here. Johnny38 says, anyone? Okay, we took care of that. Sutton or Dobbins? I would rather just play Sutton. I mean, no, I'd rather just play Dobbins there just to be safe. Nima, I'd play Manungai there if you were still wondering. Mark Ramon says pick 3. Wandell, Ferguson, Bowers, Tet, and Gadsden. I would play Ferguson, Bowers, and Wandell Robinson. Burchard or Kamara? Play Kamara. Dan Sex says, is blue worth the pickup? As in Jaden Blue? No. Unless you're just trying to lock down, technical handcuffs. Gadsden or Montgomery? I'd rather just play Gadsden. Daddle or Charbonnet? As of right now, I'm going Daddle. Dobbs or Woody? I'd rather play Woody Marks. Full PPR, Troy Franklin or Bam? I'd rather play Bam. Tet McMillan, Keenan Allen, Shakir. Pick 2 wide receivers. I'd pick Shakir and Tet. Half PPR, your glasses or your beard? I need my glasses, otherwise I can't survive. I would genuinely be a risk to my own self if I had no glasses. My eye vision is so bad, guys, that genuinely, if I took off my glasses, it's unsustainable. It is chaos. Speaking of chaos, hopefully this upcoming slate of games is not going to be chaos. I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my mind. I appreciate y'all coming through. That's going to be it for me. It is 10 a.m. Have a great week. Hunt, Shahid, or Dobbs, play Hunt there. Paul, thank you. Rudy comes in with the final question. Says, pick 2 in a full PPR. Olave, BTJ, ETN, or Dobbins. I'm playing ETN and BTJ. Best of luck. Thoughts on Monangai rest of the season? It depends on how long DeAndre Swift is going to miss time. Woody Marks or Travion Henderson? Play Travion Henderson there. Thank you. Okay, guys. That's going to cover for me today. I'm going to go get some rest. I'm going to go watch these games. Enjoy this Sunday. You guys do so as well. I'm going to, what does it say? Over, under 5.5. And no, brother, it's worse than -5.5. It's like -675. That's how bad it is. Okay. These are some thick lenses over here, gentlemen. All right, guys, I'm cueing the music. I would say have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until next time, peace.